What's poppin', everybody? Welcome to Culture Pop Season 3, Episode 9. Tonight, we are going to be talking about James Gunn's Superman. And I feel like, as much as I've hated hearing James Gunn's Superman, I feel like it had to be said. I will definitely be diving into that a little bit later. As always, I have my main man, Drewski, here with me, aka Dolan, aka I Write Comics, aka Heavy D. What's up,
Hi,
dude? How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, man. Yeah, just sitting at home, relaxing, watching the old Captain Marvel TV serials on Tubi
Oh,
right now.
okay. I thought you were gonna say you were watching Captain Marvel from the MCU.
Oh God, no, no, better to die.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, shotgun to the dick before I watch that
Oh,
again. Yeah,
yeah.
no.
That was rough. That was rough. Fun video to film though. It was a fun video to film.
Yes, so
Us discussing it.
little plug for our
Yeah,
review of
yeah,
Captain Marvel.
yeah. We did that a while back. I still got to get caught up on the editing of those videos and fighting the powers that be on copyrights. Um, but no, we got a fun show tonight. So as I said, we will be discussing Superman. It came out this past weekend, and I feel like it's the talk of the town. And we will have a few people joining us shortly. They're over on the west coast, the left coast. So we're gonna give them a little time to get here before we jump into that. But we have some other stuff to talk about, so it'll work. We will kick things off though, because Drewski, I'm sure people know this by now, but you've had a little comic book that you were writing, a little campaign going on,
Yeah, little
and
project.
little project, one of like 3 million, but it's cool, just one. So go ahead and let's talk about this real quick. So Unholy Nightmare, let me get back to the campaign page so I don't make this mistake that I made last time. Uh, but fully backed. So kudos there, but it's still open for roughly the rest of this week in case
Yes,
anyone else wants to come in and back it.
that's correct. So Kickstarter takes about 2 weeks to go through everything, and then they disperse the funds to you. So we're still in the holding pattern for that money for another week for this week. So once the funds are released, that's when we kick everything into gear.
Nice.
So as of right now, you guys have one more week to back this before the vault is closed, if you will. And you'll have to wait to get this if it's available at any conventions.
Absolutely. And then I do have the link for the Kickstarter pinned in the comments, so go check it out if you haven't already. As always, there are quite a few covers to choose from, so depending on what your fancy or your poison or whatever you want to call it is, um, you can definitely take a gander at the pick, or you can get all of them. No one's going to complain if you get all of them.
I won't.
Uh, no, not at all. But yeah, this we got this Andrew Mangum cover. We got Aurelio's
Aurelio's.
cover that features the full team. JC Grande's. This is another version of Andrew Mangum's. And I always forget Frank
Yeah,
Guzin.
Frank Guzin and Russ
And
Cass. Yeah, and Russ. Yeah, our
okay,
campaign
yeah,
manager. He designed. He did like the design after that to give it that EC Comics look.
yeah. I'm not gonna say I'm partial to this one, but I do like it just because of the throwback nature.
Oh,
I think I
absolutely.
got. Well, I'm pretty sure I got all of them. But I'm pretty sure I went with the bloody version of this one because it's just why not.
Yeah.
We do have Ezek Bell's Ooh La La cover. That's what I'm going
He,
to refer to it as. Ooh La
yeah,
La.
he killed it.
I think she's cold. And then we also
We're excited.
have, or excited, we also have TriStar's cover, and we have the nice version and the naughty version. So you can take your pick there. And as always, I always stress this, but if you're going to go ahead and pick up the second issue in Holy Nightmare, you have to. It's not a choice. I'm not letting you choose not to. You got to get the backup issue of Gollum. So written by Drew and Aaron Sparrow with art by Vudon. It is freaking amazing. I cannot stress it enough, and not enough people have bought it, so or backed it, I should say. So what are we doing? Go back it. But I will add just some important, I guess, notes that if you did back the comic, but maybe your payment declined, they're going to need to take some action. Is that right, Drew?
That's correct. There are only a handful of people, and I will have emailed you. So be sure you check your emails. That some people, their payments didn't go through for whatever reason, whether it was the payment declined because of some suspicious activity, or insufficient funds, or the wrong numbers attributed to the card, whatever. So double check your emails and make sure your payment went through, because if it didn't, as of right now, Kickstarter canceled those orders. So if you're watching right now, you may have thought you ordered it but didn't. So you're going to have to place that order again with a correct payment method.
Indeed. And they should have gotten an email. Plus, I think you reached out to people as well, correct?
Yeah, I sent out a broad email to everyone letting them know, but I also emailed people individually. So check your spam folders, check your inboxes, whatever.
Exactly. Whatever. And look, if you didn't back Gollum, this is a perfect chance for you to go back Gollum.
Yeah, this is exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just gonna keep pushing that.
I appreciate it, and we're definitely gonna print some extras because we're gonna bring that to conventions.
Awesome. I think that is a smart thing to do, because I do genuinely think that once this gets in people's hands, more people are going to be talking about it. There are also other opportunities here that you can back as well, getting different color covers, varied covers. If you missed that on the original issue, you can do the catch-up bundle and get that. So a lot of good stuff here. If you've been tuning into the channel, you definitely heard us talking about this, but definitely go support the book and Drew and Aaron and Aurelio and everyone involved there. You see, Oliver is threatening too. I don't know if you could hear him growling, but he said, "Go back the book." Let's go ahead and turn to the comments real quick and see who all we have here this evening. So coming in with the first comment of the night, we do have Cajun Corey in the house with an evening. What's up, sir? Good evening to you. Nice to see you. We also have Ezekiel. Hold on, let me get onto my dog real quick. He's not as bad as Crypto, but he's a little feisty. See. I have a stern hey that I say, and he'll stop. But we do have Ezekiel in the house with a hello, good sir. Nice to see you here. We also have Kaiser Jose, who recently read or caught up with James Tynan's World Tree. And I think he liked it because he said World Tree is gay. I think that means he enjoyed it. Is that how you're taking it, Drew? Is that he enjoyed that book?
He's very happy and enthusiastic about it.
So that's how I'm reading it, is that he is happy and he is enthusiastic. I'm glad you're liking that book, Kaiser. I'm glad. I feel like Tynan probably wrote that especially for you. And then Cajun Corey also put, funny Superman comes out the weekend. I meet one of the Superman actors. Yes. So Cajun met Dean Cain recently.
Nice.
Cajun, yeah. Where were you that you saw him? Was it a convention or like a fan meet and greet, or you'll have to let us know. And Geyser said he's enthusiastically selling his copies of World Tree on eBay. Yes. Sounds like a very fitting thing to do. And Cajun met Dean Cain at the Knoxville Fanboy Expo. Fanboy Expo or Fan Expo? But he also met John Schneider. So
awesome. Nice. Great podcast. Yeah, one of the best podcasts.
Agreed. From Smallville.
Yeah, it's still it's a 20-year spoiler. The episode where he dies, that one still gets me.
Yeah,
still gets me.
Indeed. Do you have so I will say I was one of those that I didn't get super into Smallville. Like I watched it for a little while and then kind of fell off. And I've never actually gone back to catch up on everything that I missed. So I should probably do that at some point. But
I started going back through it when Michael Rosenbaum and Todd Welling, they started their Smallville retrospective podcast.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And some of those episodes early on, some of them are pretty rough. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But some are better than others. You know, there are some good ones out there. But to me, there are some of the great episodes are the ones that are really focused on Pa Kent, to me, and him and Clark specifically. Like whether it's another great episode is when I think it's Clark goes to like an alternate Earth. He goes to like Earth 2 or whatever, and he sees that his Pa Kent is still alive, and he's ashamed of his son because his son is Ultraman on that Earth.
Yeah.
It's a great episode.
Solid episode. Yeah, I might have to do that in my spare time and just go back and see. I can't even remember where I left off because it was while it was airing. So that, it's been a hot minute.
But yeah, viewer beware. There are some episodes. There are some seasons that are pretty damn rough.
Oh, for sure. So while we wait for Drew or Dylan and Aaron to get here, excuse me. I was gonna say, before this movie, so I saw it over the weekend. You saw it, I believe, Thursday last week. Is that right?
Yep, that's correct.
Now, Drew, leading to this, I think we had a lot of concerns about this film.
Yes.
And just tonally because of James Gunn, but also leading to this, when we were on Max's channel, we had a Reddit post with leaks come out, and we reviewed that Reddit post and kind of went through point by point. And I think that we were like, okay, some of this we know is true, but like half of this has to be untrue. Is that the take you had? Was like at least half of this can't be like real?
Yeah.
Right.
That's where I was about. There's like no way all of this is real. There's no way. And I think it turned out most of it was real.
Like literally almost every single plot point that was brought up ended up being real. And I was just like, oh gosh. Okay. Wow. So I was just sitting in the movie theater just like, I can't believe this is happening right now. But no, I do want to kind of talk about that. The past 5 years to, I guess 10 years, if we're being honest. The DC universe has been just
a mess.
I didn't want to say free fall, but kind of a bit of a free fall. Because you had Man of Steel come out, which in the grand scheme of things, looking at all the DC films was not bad, and then you had Batman v Superman, which. I mean, it's there. It happens. I know you love it.
Yes, I am an unapologetic fan of the extended cut.
Okay, fair.
ABS.
I will say that the extended cut is better. And then we had what was it? Suicide Squad, which was oof. And which they're trying to push the release of the air cut, which I'm not gonna lie, I really want to see.
Yeah, me too. I'm very curious to see just how much more, because it's very interesting because it sounds like we would have gotten more of like a relationship, maybe some sparks between Harley Quinn and Deadshot, and maybe some more Joker. I don't know. It would have been an interesting vision to see.
It would have been. I know that there's so much that changed just from the post that David Ayer has posted, that I would love to just see his cut and see how different it actually is. Even Jared Leto's like, so much of what I did is not there, and I did not care for his take on the Joker, but
it was a choice.
yeah, it was a choice, but I wouldn't mind seeing more if it's got a better context and build to it. But after that, you had Justice League come out, which was a hot mess, and then from there on, it was just chaos. Aside from the one film that happened to do well, which was Aquaman. But we're coming into this. There's a lot of baggage. James Gunn's relaunching the DC universe. How important was it for this? In your opinion, was it for this Superman to land and actually be done well?
Well, I mean. From everything we've heard in the interviews and everything that we've gathered, knowing is how much they've spent on this film, according to the tax documents, look, they can say it cost them $200 million, but I saw the tax forms. It filed in the city of Cleveland. It cost them the budget was reported at $320 million. So unless they lied on their tax forms, which I don't think they would want to do that legally, they're understating how much this movie cost. So there was a lot riding on this film, and if it didn't do well, if it didn't, there would be what everything after Supergirl and probably Clayface wouldn't happen. A lot of it would have been canceled. So, but I think right now they're curious to see what the drop off is going to be for week 2. Now it sounds like the drop off for week 2 is going to be better than the drop off that we had for Man of Steel or BVS. So, which is good for them. You know, it sounds like it's going to be more in the 50% range as opposed to like the 56-65% range that those films had. So if it can maintain for the second week, that's great. Good for them.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens. But yeah, they had to stick the landing with this. And to me, look, I don't love it. I don't hate it. They did okay, I guess.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, we'll definitely get to breaking that down. I do want to look up the box office because it did relatively well.
Yes, it did. I'm noticing an ever shifting goalpost of expectations for this film.
Yes, because I think at first there was that whole like, look. You've gotten to a certain point where when you have superhero films, there's a certain expectation that it's going to do a certain amount of money overall. You know, and whether that's realistic or not, but you kind of have to just take it for what it is. But Superman right now, worldwide is sitting at 232,900,000. So pretty much 233 million. So not a bad start.
No, it's
between its weekend and now.
But it's not bad. But the issue is, Joshy Poo, is that it's neck and neck right now with where Man of Steel was roughly 12 years ago.
Yep.
And I think maybe a little better than Superman Returns. But that's not great. You know, it's still neck and neck with those films. That's not great. And even if you adjust for inflation, Man of Steel made more. And that's not that good. And from what I understand, I think Man of Steel even made more internationally than the Superman film did. So I'm still up in the air with it. You know, I don't think it did great. I don't think it did bad. I think it did okay. When it comes to my personal review of the film and financially.
Fair. And then as far as the finances go, I mean, like you kind of mentioned, it's really gonna determine on what these following weeks bring in. I think we typically see that Superman performs better domestically than it does overseas because he is kind of like that Americana type character. Same with Captain America. But you know, if this continues that trend of superhero films where it's dropping like 60 to 70% in the week 2, that's not gonna. Yeah, that's not going to bode well.
Yeah, let's make that clear. If this film drops 60% or more hypothetically in week 2, the films after Supergirl they're not happening. they're not happening.
I will say on the benefit though that it doesn't have a major competition coming out this weekend, but it does have something that I think might be a little bit more of a sleeper than they're expecting, and that's
Pedro Pascal film.
That's that one exactly. The one where what is it? I can't even remember what it's about now. I don't know. It's the same guy.
I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, it's the same guy that did It's All About Bo or whatever that movie was with Joaquin Phoenix. No, I Know What You Did Last Summer. That relaunch, that reboot.
You know what? Part of me is thinking that could be bigger than people think. I'm thinking.
Yeah, and that's where I am. So it'll be really curious. And of course, after that, we've got Fantastic Four. So who knows? We'll see. It'll be an interesting summer for the box office in the summer battle between Jurassic World, Superman, and Fantastic Four. And will they beat Lilo and Stitch or How to Train Your Dragon?
Absolutely not. I've already
Minecraft.
Look, I'm putting money on it. I'll put down $100 right now. Nothing is beating Lilo and Stitch or Minecraft this year. Those are going to be the two big films of the year.
Two big films.
And I think Lilo and Stitch will be the biggest film of the year.
Well, I was going to say, speaking of Lilo and Stitch, we have the live action Lilo and Stitch's biggest fan in the house, Aaron Sparrow, ladies and gentlemen.
That movie sucks.
I love it.
And the fact that people like gave over $1 billion to Disney for that film. Look, I know people like Stitch, but man, what a travesty that film is.
Yeah. I think a lot of people went into it thinking that they were going to at least get a true rendition of what they saw in the animated film, and then it didn't happen. So,
which again is like, why are we doing that? Why do you need to see a live action version of an animated film? Why do you think that something is not legitimate unless it's live action?
Right.
The animation, like I saw How to Train Your Dragon, and it was a almost completely faithful adaptation, and nowhere near as good, nowhere near as interesting. Wow. The actors all did a great job. The visuals were fine, fantastic even. But there is such a charm that is lost going from animation to live action, because in animation they can be so much more, the characters can be so much more expressive, even than the human characters. None of them really lived up to the animated version. They were all good, but what's the point?
Yeah, no, I feel you. It's like part of me can understand potentially is something like Beauty and the Beast, where there's a certain spectacle that will just feel different. But I think we've seen that every live action that they've done has just fell short of the animated version. And I think it's kind of like what we see in comics sometimes, that certain art styles just work really, really well with conveying emotions and, bringing energy off the page. And if you go too hyper realistic with your art, it can look dead in a way. So,
case in point, going from story hack job notwithstanding, going from Brian Boland's art on The Killing Joke to the animated version. Went with kind of like the worst version of their animated art, like not stylized at all, just kind of bland and uninteresting.
Yep.
And Brian Boland, you go through The Killing Joke, and if it had no words on it, like you can still kind of tell what's going on by how well the panels are laid out, the expressions of the characters. Joker is so over the top exaggerated. It's fantastic. I think it's the definitive look for the modern Joker. And then to go to a film with a hack script directed by Sam Liu with that animation.
Yeah, it's bad. It was rough.
And on top of that, you had the additional story at the beginning.
Oh, God, yeah. Of all the things that they could have done.
Everyone loved that. I think everyone loved Azarella's story.
Not at all. Who did love it, though? Like, he was like, yeah, I'm all about Bruce banging Barbara. It was Dylan, the real comic book guy.
Oh, yeah, definitely. No, I made videos on that when that came out. But whose art style was bastardized the worst in those adaptions was Doug Mankey for Superman versus the Elite.
Oh,
when they adapted that, his art's so good, and then in the animation adaptation, it looks terrible. Like, the movie's not bad, but the art style is so bad for that animation, I can't watch it. I've watched it once, and it's just ugly as hell. It's terrible.
It's rough.
Yeah, it's the worst version of it. And then what's the other one? Long Halloween.
I was about to say Tim Sells. Yeah.
Without trying to, you didn't try to do Tim Sale at all. That story loses something without his art. Like, that's part of it's baked in.
They're like, guys, we already had renderings for this type of art. Just let us do it. So, I think Drewski is a little on brand tonight. With the hoodie.
Yes,
and then,
coming wearing my Under Armour Superman hoodie and breaking a little middle sweat. Reading the Absolute Superman edition that just came in the mail.
Very nice.
Jeff John's Gary Frank collection.
Yes, it is. It's fantastic.
El Fantastico. All right, guys. So we will go ahead and get into our discussion for tonight, discussing James Gunn's Superman. I'm going to keep emphasizing James Gunn's Superman. It pissed me off beforehand, but I'm perfectly fine with it now because I think it's very fitting. I do want to say real quick, we did have the comic crusader himself, Maxwell Von Priestley, jump into the chat, so I'm going to say hi to him. And then, yes, now we're just missing Wes and Doc, indeed. I want to start off. So we'll kind of go into specific characters and highlight just some overall themes and stuff that are in the film as we go through it. But I want to kind of start off with everyone's general thoughts. You went into the movie. What were your expectations going in? And then when you left, were you favorable? Did you enjoy the movie? Did you not enjoy the movie? Where did you land with it? So I'm gonna start with Drewski and let him go. Then I'll go with Aaron and Dylan.
So I went in. I hate to say low expectations, but after we did some streams and we read the Reddit posts, of reviewers who saw it, the Reddit leaks, just what to expect, and we were discussing that. I hope half of this isn't true, but went to go see it. It turned out most of those leaks were true, but they weren't as bad as I thought they were going to be. And it goes from my overall general thought of the film. I went in with low expectations. I left just thinking, okay.
Understandable. We'll get into some of those ants in a second. Aaron, I believe you went in and then came out a little favorable on it, correct?
I liked it. Yeah, I liked the film. I thought
Nice.
that my concerns for the film were largely kind of like washed away. Some of the some of the stupid stuff that we've heard, like hashtag super shit and things like that, but did kind of like what I said when I was saying like I don't know about this, but I said like they're showing us a bunch of clips completely out of context, and I don't know how all this weaves together. So it seems like it is episodes of a TV show over, like you're just seeing clips of a whole season of TV. I thought they tied it together fairly well. I didn't go in with huge expectations, and I found myself invested in the story. I was invested in the performances. I thought Corin Sweat was great as Superman, which Josh, I credit you because you were because you hired him. No, but you were like the first person. You were the first person that was like, no, he's good. He's going to do a good job, and he did. I thought that I knew Rachel Brosnahan would do a great job because I watched that Miss Maisel show she was on. She's great. I thought they had a good rapport, good chemistry. I thought all the characters pretty much worked. It was a kind of a different version of Mr. Terrific, but one that I really liked and a performance that I really liked. I didn't get sick of Crypto, and I just came out of it like, it was a bright, kind of hopeful movie. And even the big swerve, which I know we're not in the spoilers yet, but even the big swerve that they did in the movie with the mythos, I've seen it done before in the comics, so it didn't make me mad. I've also never cared about those characters, so it didn't make me mad. And I thought that it sold the ending a lot better with that twist. And that's something that can always be undone in the future. But I thought for this film and for establishing who Superman is in this universe, I thought it worked.
Gotcha. Senor Dylan, what were your general thoughts on James Gunn's Superman?
I liked it. I thought it was good. It's not the greatest movie I've ever seen or anything like that, but I enjoyed it. I had some concerns going in, but overall I was excited for the movie, and I thought it would be good because of all the pressure on it. And James Gunn, for the most part, has a good track record with these movies. So I was excited for it, and I came out enjoying it. I thought they nailed Superman and Lex, which are two of the most important pieces to nail. One of my hesitations going in that was lived out was that it was overpacked. I liked the Justice Gang, but I much would have rather had them not even in the movie and focused more on the core Superman characters like the Daily Planet crew and Ma and Pa Kent, because I liked the little bit we got of them, but we didn't get much of them. But yeah, I thought it was good. It wasn't anything amazing, but I did enjoy it. Had a good time.
For sure. I think I'm kind of in the same boat as you guys. I would say that I thought it was fine. I didn't walk away really emotionally feeling anything, and I kind of I think with the whole look up and the whole this is about hope, and then even going back to when James Gunn first started writing the script and finished the script and said, "Oh, this is a love letter to my dad." I think there was stuff that I was wanting, and my expectations kind of played into that. But yeah, I wasn't disappointed. I did not hate it. There were moments that I was like, why are we doing this? But other than that, it could have been worse. So I will at least say that.
So is James Gunn saying his dad was like Jor-El in this case?
His dad was like, you go to Hollywood and you bang a bunch of hoes and you start a harem.
Well, I mean, if we look towards his tweets, I don't know what kind of harem he would have. So,
Oh, come on. The time that James Gunn was doing those tweets, let's be honest, that was peak Chris Hansen to Catch a Predator.
Yeah.
And everyone was making those jokes in the office.
for
and the
sure.
thing. It's like, you would walk into it, like your boss would call you in for a meeting and he'd be like, why don't you have a seat? Like Chris Hansen style. And then you both laugh, because that was just in the zeitgeist at the time.
Why are there brownies on the counter? Yeah. But I do want to, because we kind of alluded to this a little bit, but I think one of the biggest concerns all of us had was how James Gunny would Superman be. And then also just the importance that I think that maybe having your vision as a director and putting that into the film can both be a good and bad thing. So Dylan, I'll go to you first. Did you think it had too much James Gunn, and did you think that maybe it was a good course correction from what Snyder was doing, or too much of a course correction?
I'll say that I feel like this is the least humor of his movies, and I think that was a good thing. I feel like a lot of people are overselling like how much humor there is. Like as far as when I see people picking apart, I see a lot of people being like every single emotional scene was undercut by a joke. I disagree with that. I feel like there was only like 1 or 2 scenes that were undercut. For the most part, it was handled well. It's just mainly that scene at the end, which I won't spoil, but just where we're having a great moment between Superman and Lex, and it's just thrown away for a joke, and that made me very sad when that happened because it was so good, and then just threw it away. But other than that, there's not really much of that at all. I felt like Gunn did a good job of holding himself back with his Gunn-isms. But as far as the course correction with Man of Steel, I feel like this did a good job. It feels like every single, not just DC, but every single comic movie has been hit by Man of Steel, because every single one, they're like, all right, we're going to fight in a desert. This city of 20 million people, they all just got evacuated in 10 seconds. And we're going to let everyone know they've been evacuated. It's like, this is a little much. Like, how is everyone getting evacuated? And this movie does that, but it's like every single comic movie is doing that because they don't want to get hit with the Man of Steel curse where, if you have a populated city, bad things happen. People get very upset about it. So
you
I feel
just
like
have the hero try to save people. That's all you need to do. He doesn't have to save everybody. Not everything needs to, like before he gets there, bad things can happen. But once Superman is there, he should be actively trying to save people, trying to take the battle away from the people, and not punching guys through IHOPs that he just told people to go take cover in.
which he does in this movie. Also, in Man of Steel, he gets punched into the IHOP. By the way,
he does. Yes, you're right.
That, but I'm a Man of Steel apologist, so I love.
I am here for the hyperbole, Dylan, and you are ruining my day.
But yeah, in this he does save a lot of people, and it's great, and I like it, and I love seeing that. So I didn't feel like this was a direct like pissing on Man of Steel, like trying to course correct too much. It didn't feel like, say, when you're watching The Last Jedi and it's just trying to like, I'm going to undo everything The Force Awakens did, or Rise of Skywalker being like, fuck you, Rian Johnson, now I'm gonna undo everything you did. It didn't feel like that.
Yes, I'll agree with you there. I will say that I do see a lot of people kind of with nitpicks, and I think nitpicks are fine. I do find that a lot of people, I think, let little things overly impact their opinion of movies. And like I said, there's plenty of small things throughout this movie that I wasn't crazy about, but I didn't hate it in the way that I hated some of the stuff that Snyder did, whether it was Man of Steel or Justice League. And we were actually, before you guys got here, we're both saying like Man of Steel for the most part I think is a fine movie. Outside
I like a lot of things about Man of Steel, as much as
agreed.
There's a lot of things that I like.
Yeah, it's just the follow-up that screwed everything up.
Yeah,
I could have dealt with Man of Steel until Batman v Superman.
Agreed.
And then that threw everything else. Like I think that there was still time to course correct, but Batman v Superman just made it like impossible to do so.
Martha!
I'll say one thing Man of Steel got right, in my opinion. They got Jor-El better.
Oh yeah,
100%. Yeah.
What is with everybody's like ball washing of Jor-El? Why is everybody like just Jor-El matters so much? He doesn't. I don't care about Jor-El. I don't care about.
As far as Superman characters, he's not as important as a lot of others, so I didn't mind what happened in this movie. Mm-hmm. But if we're going to compare versions, I definitely prefer the Man of Steel version to what we got in this.
I will agree with that. I will also say that there is room to even course correct this in the future. Like
definitely.
You can like it could. Granted, you have characters like Mr. Terrific saying like, "No, those computer guys." That was a weird thing, right?
Yeah,
he goes like, "No, those computer guys, they don't mess around." I'm like, they mess around all the time. Like people lie all the time. Like why are you? I mean, I know you're saying this to sell the moment, but you could have just easily had Mr. Terrific say, I examined it myself. There's no tampering. That I can detect. And then in the second movie, you just make it that Brainiac did it, or whatever, whoever your big bad is, like, or Lex did find a way to alter it, or, there's all kinds of ways out of it. But for this movie, it works.
Now, speaking of nitpicks, though, I just want to say one little nitpick I had with this movie is the fact that Superman flies like a John Romita Jr. character. I hate the fact that he's like hands at his sides flying. I'm like, get your fist out. I prefer the one fist. Two is fine. But I prefer the one like this. This is how I like it.
That's how you do it.
Yeah, Aaron has a fist, by the way, not an open hand, so no one say anything. But but I'm saying that like that's how I much prefer it compared to like flying like this. It just doesn't look as good. He does this once in the movie. He does the two fists for like 2 seconds. That was just one of my nitpicks.
Yeah, no, that's a perfectly fine nitpick. Drew, I wanted to kind of bounce to you. Did you feel like you felt too much of James Gunn in this movie?
No, it was a much more restrained James Gunn with the isms. But I will say what really did come out, I mean, in this version at least, this theatrical version, is that really focusing on the weird characters. And that's what he likes. He likes the weird characters. And we got to see a lot of that with Justice Gang, with Metamorpho, Miss Tessmacher and her shrimp toes.
That was a weird creative thing. I was like, okay. All right. Just look at the rest of her. Just have her wear socks if you're so freaked out by her toes.
That's just one of those James Gunn jokes where he's just like, this is gonna get laughs.
Everybody's dated a shrimp-toed girl, and you're like, I don't know what that is.
And it really comes to, and honestly, in my opinion, I mean, the weird characters are the stars of this movie, especially Mr. Terrific. Mr. Terrific steals the movie. He is the real hero of this movie, in my opinion. But
I agree.
Yeah, and I think that's where we really see him shine. But the humor, it really is more subdued, and a lot of the jokes, and honestly, in my opinion, a lot of them just didn't really. There were a couple laughs, like but there really weren't any big laughs.
No, it felt like it felt, and I think that's why it didn't feel intrusive to me, because it didn't feel like a huge setup. Here's the punchline, everybody laugh. Pause the movie so that there's time for the laughter. Like everything just kind of flowed, and it just felt like, that's a comment.
It felt more natural.
A comment that your friend would make, and maybe you'd go, like that. Like it didn't feel like they were going for big laughs. It was just going for kind of a human conversation.
I'll agree with that. And look, I think when we look at people that are close or friends or whatever, they tend to keep humor kind of throughout, their conversations. I'm with Drew. I do think one of the things that stand out the most isn't necessarily Gunnisms in terms of the humor, but it is the weirdness that he leaned into from the comics. Kind of going more of that space robot-y type thing. The characters that he brought in, even kind of the Jimmy Olsen type deep cuts, which I loved, but I think if I were going to say my biggest issue with this entire movie is it feels like we should have had a movie before this one, and that's because it felt like they were doing so much to make up ground that in certain ways this felt like a previously on to try to get to the plot, and then you never really felt like you had enough meat and bones there to let things land the way they should have. I
disagree with that. I like that we just jumped in the middle of everything like a comic book, that we're just in it. It's like, hey, we're 3 years into Superman. This is where we're at right now. Here's what's going on. You just jumped in the middle of this. I like that. And I felt like I had no problems with everything going on. My only thing was just get rid of the Justice Gang so we can focus on the Superman characters. Like you could have just done that. But as far as like story goes and everything, I felt like I had everything necessary I need to keep going, understand what's going on. And I had no problems. I've been like, man, I feel like I missed a lot. I didn't feel like that. I really like jumping in the middle of it.
I think the purpose of the Justice Gang was more so that Lois had something to do. Because if you think back to like Batman v Superman, like she doesn't really have a lot to do except go get the spear for some inexplicable reason, because the movie needs to happen. So I think that like
if you get rid of the Justice Gang, you could have Lois doing other things with the Daily Planet crew or with Clark, to where you don't get that in this movie. That's my thing. I liked the Justice Gang. It's just I could have done without them.
Yeah, I mean, I think Nathan Fillion stole every scene that he was in.
He was great. Him and Mr. Terrific were both great. Hawkgirl's a nothing character.
Oh, God.
Yeah, they didn't give her
annoying ass screeches.
she's cute, and I was like, I kept going like, why is she screeching? Like, what?
Yeah.
So we're never gonna get Black Canary. You gave this Sonic Power to Hawk Girl, but I like Isabel Merced, and I think that the couple of lines that she does have, and maybe she had more before they trimmed stuff out of here. Maybe we even had more with the Kents. I feel like we cut stuff with the Kents.
Oh,
because there was
absolutely.
so very little.
Oh, 100%.
And I was like, okay, and I know he didn't get a lot of screen time, and I like the actor, but like, why are we giving screen time to Beck Bennett as sports guy for the Daily Planet? Like,
Lombard?
Steve
Yeah.
Lombard? Yeah.
I like Steve Lombard. I
do
wanted
too.
more of all of them together.
Yeah.
No,
I
I
did
mean,
too.
I liked it. His bit was good. I did get one part that did make me laugh, where he's like, "Why don't I have a seat?" When
I
he's
was
on the
gonna
ship.
say that was one of my laughing points.
There wasn't
Well,
enough
Ron
Perry
Trout
White,
got
honestly, in my
completely
opinion.
cut. Sorry,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. There wasn't enough Perry White. Honestly, I felt like he had a couple moments, and mostly toward the end when they're in the ship. But early on, it's just like he just shows up. Maybe he says a word here or there, but it's like I kind of want more Perry White. This guy's a great
That
actor.
was weird too. Good actor that they chose. Obviously a race swap, but Perry White has been black in previous movies and previous iterations. So, but it's like Perry White is one of those characters that you can race swap, and to me, it's not a jarring change. But like if you did that with J. Jonah Jameson, you were like, no, Ice Cube is J. Jonah Jameson. I'd be like, no, what? No, no.
Yeah. I just want to clarify. So when I was saying I feel like we needed another film, it wasn't that I felt like we were missing stuff. It was more so that we spent so little time on so many things. So kind of to Dylan's point, I feel like we got robbed of some really nice like moments. And the pace of this, Aaron kind of mentioned it earlier, I think is more so referring to the previews. I don't know if you felt this way about the film itself, but I did feel like this was a collection of random scenes from like different episodes of a television series. And that's kind of how I felt watching it. That there were so many points throughout the movie where it felt like it was like, and then,
Well,
then.
If you took
then,
you took each scene and you cut to Clark and Lois on the couch, like laughing and going, oh, that's what I'd call a sticky situation. In between each scene, it would feel like a clip show, like what they used to get on
it was
sitcoms.
very much trying to be like All-Star Superman, where he's got his 12 feet that he's got to do. That's what I got from it, where it's like he's mentioned All-Star Superman 8,000 times in the lead up to this movie. So that's what it felt like. And also I heard the original cut was going to be like days of the week. It was going to be like have a title card to be like Tuesday, and then it's Superman doing this, and then they edited it after like fan screenings because that didn't get the best reception. So then they put it all together.
I feel like that could have worked. But
I feel like that could have worked too.
Yeah.
Like really just showing like, because I feel like that would have worked to really show just how consistent he is with I'm out there, I'm out there, I'm out there, and I'm balancing life and your relationship and whatever. We're about to jump in and start kind of going character by character and talking about them. Before we do, though, I do need to highlight we've got Flaccid Phoenix in the house with $4.99. He said, I haven't seen it, but if Josh hates this movie but loves Black Panther 2, I'm going to spank him.
You like Black Panther 2?
I think Black Panther 2 is a much better film than people give it credit for. And I think
arguably the worst MCU movie. It's so bad.
No way.
Dude, the funeral where they're having like such like a heartfelt moment, and then he gets Star Trek beam me up Scotty into a spaceship, his corpse. Like, what are we doing?
It's part of it's part of their lore.
That movie's terrible.
I would say from a technical standpoint, the structure of the script, the character arcs, the way they filmed it was way better than a lot of what's come out. Well, pretty much most of what's come out there.
And honestly, and hey, you have the best way to depower a Hispanic villain, which is dry his back.
Enough about Black Panther.
That was actually my favorite part about that movie was the fact that he just didn't give a shit about getting shaped for the movie. Like he shows up and it's like, oh, here's the more. He's this big powerful guy, and he's just like the most average like Mexican dude. He's like he didn't try at all to get in shape. Like
you don't look anything remotely like a swimmer at all.
No.
Yeah, I've got a burrito. But no, Flaccid real quick for the $4.99. Thank you, sir. And since we're on the topic of spanking, I guess I'll just play this clip.
Good boy. Good boy.
All right.
Got that in the bank. Okay.
Also, I do want to highlight we got Adam Frey in the house, and he put "Where's Perch?" And Aaron, ever so eloquently came forward with the more thoughtful question is how is Perch? And then Cajun Corey came in with why is Perch?
Oh yeah, I also gotta correct something Perch said on Aficionados because I went and
Uh-oh.
saw Superman later that day for the second time. John Byrne is thanked in the credits. I even took a
Oh.
picture of it because I was like, I'm gonna pay attention. Because the first time I wasn't paying attention, and this time I was like, I'm gonna look. John Byrne is thanked in the credits because Perch said something that he wasn't thanked in the on Aficionados, but he was.
Yeah, I think it's like right there at the very, very end. I
It's
believe.
literally the very last thing you see. They're like special thanks to. And the first time
Yeah.
I saw it, I remember seeing Marv Wolfman and some others, but this time I paid attention. John Burns, like right there.
Yeah, I
think
saw
Mark
Mark
Miller-
Wade.
Mark Miller said he
Brian-
wasn't. But yeah.
Huh?
I think Mark Miller said he wasn't. But
Oh.
so one
That
of
might
the
be where
artists
Perch got it
was.
from.
Yeah.
Yeah. Real quick, Adam Frey also put, I thought the movie had heart but lacked body. Liked the acting, liked the characters, did not like that it came down to another big CGI final fight and didn't go deeper in on moral struggle. I think that's more so kind of what I was wanting to is just one, I think it could have had a much better structure from a script standpoint, but two, I wanted more of the relationships.
One thing I gotta notice a similar theme across the first Superman film or Superman Returns is that in this film as well is that there's like a big crevice or whatever that's parting Metropolis or where the San Andreas Fault. It's like this is the third film where this has happened. There's other disasters that can happen.
Absolutely. Let's go ahead and start diving into the characters. So we had our leading man, David Cornsweet, who doesn't have the biggest resume to his name, but he stepped in as Superman / Clark Kent. I think the biggest question I had, I know he's had the earnestness to play the role. I didn't know if he'd have the full gravitas. I'm not even still so certain he had the best script to showcase what he could potentially do. But I want to see what you guys thought about him. And Aaron, I'll kick things off with you, sir.
Well, Aaron, you're muted.
I was really impressed with his performance. I thought that he sold the naive farm boy thing kind of well, like the good-hearted, Midwest boy that I'm not even sure exists anymore, but that's who Superman is and who he should be. I thought that was sold really well. I thought the moments where he had to be righteously angry came off very well. The scene that people complained about where it's like, oh look, Lois is bullying him, and that they showed off beforehand, I thought worked perfectly in this film. I thought they had a great rapport, and like Dylan said, the stuff with him and Lex. Oh, I wanted more of it. Because that was, even when they were talking through the microphone, and he says something about Lex being jealous, and Lex is like, "Oh yeah, no, I recognize it.
Yeah,
I recognize that. That's what this is. I don't have any illusions about it. I thought Nicholas Hoult stole the show as Lex. I think he's the best Lex we've ever had on screen. I loved his performance. I think he's a worthy Superman. And it made me forget that I didn't like the design of the costume. As I was watching the movie, I completely forgot about the costume.
Fair. I will agree that there were moments that I did not think about the costume. Drew, what were your thoughts on Cornsweet?
I will say as Superman, I thought he did a good job. It's interesting because this is a year 3 Superman he's supposed to be in. But it felt like at times he came across as still very emotionally immature, just very, very emotionally just jumping like that, like an 18-year-old. So I'm trying to figure out, is he still Superboy at this time, or is he really Superman? That's where I was kind of conflicted with. But
to be fair, on that point, he hadn't lost a fight ever. And so I feel like that kind of lends to him being newer, to be like, oh, he's been undefeated his entire career, and now he finally gets his ass kicked a couple times. So I feel like that kind of...
Is this where we start chanting Goldberg? No, I will agree. Actually, I think both of you have good points. I do think this is part of the problem with that. We want to just kind of jump ahead, but also lay some groundwork. Is it feels like some scenes were written to kind of be like, okay, here's kind of some 411 if you don't happen to know anything about Superman. So that scene with him as Clark at the Daily Planet, and they're having that back and forth about the interview and this and
And one last thing I do want to say before move on is that when it comes to Clark, I feel like we didn't get enough Clark Kent, honestly, in my opinion. And we only really got that one scene. And to be honest with you, I felt like it was only be one scene. Do it like Grant Morrison did in All-Star Superman, where he's just bumbling around, causing an accident. Maybe he's causing an accident, but saving someone's life by causing the accident. Just, but have fun with it. And it really, it was enough Clark Kent, in my opinion, to really make a justified opinion on it.
Yeah. No, I agree. I not even just that I wanted more Clark. It's more so that I wanted more of that duality. Like, you know, if we are getting early Superman, I would still like to see him trying to find the balance of everything. How can I be? And it's like they hinted towards like that, and like the hinted towards the idea of, you know, you can't save everyone. And I wish we would have weighed more. I don't want a series film. I don't need a super dark Superman film. But I wish we would have weighed more into he lost his first fight, and then I have that impact him a little bit, because I feel like he lost his first fight and then was like, all right, let's go right back out there. And it wasn't like okay, I need to rethink this. I've never lost before. But also watching the guy get killed, like for me, sheesh, like I felt like as a character that would have really just kind of put him in the dumps a little more than it did. Especially because it's the same guy that helps him. It's that guy that gave him food and helped him when he got beaten to the ground and then gets shot right in front of him. So
that was, oh man, that was
a great scene.
Great scene.
Yeah, it was great. And then even like Lex's response, which some people were like, oh, it was like a joke after that. And I was like, it wasn't a joke. It was like, that wasn't funny. And I don't think it was meant to be funny. It was meant to show how cold Lex is about what he'd just done.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like it was just like, oh, I didn't expect that. You know, like, we'll get another one tomorrow. You know, I thought that was a really well done scene. And it was like, I turned to my friend in the theater and I told her, I said, it's nice to see Superman screaming because someone was executed in front of him instead of him screaming after executing someone himself.
It shows, I mean, Lex has no heart for humanity. That's what it shows. Yeah. Where it shows that contrast with Superman, where he does have that heart for humanity. Lex doesn't.
Very good point.
Yeah. What do we think about the Superman bots, the Superman robots?
I liked them.
Yeah,
I liked them. I think it's now. I heard people whispering in the theater, "Why does Superman have robots?" Like it's like it's not explained, and like even like later when they were in, I heard like somebody going like, "So did his parents send the robots with him?" Or you know, like people were like kind of like questioning it. As a comic book fan, I didn't, but you know, I understand like that's one of those things narratively where it's like, okay, if you're a normie and you don't know all this lore, you know, you just know the basic story of Superman, which they gloss over. You're going to go into this movie and you're going to be like, okay, you're going to be Marge Simpson at most family feedback, going like, an alligator with sunglasses. Now I've seen everything. You know, Superman robots, whatever.
I kind of wish we would have had like a 3 to 5 minute kind of like exposition recap thing to start this movie off, or at least early in the film. But I wish it would have been portrayed as, okay, like I'm finally telling Lois who I am.
You know, maybe if they had done like a visual opening montage, like the opening of The Incredible Hulk with Edward Norton, when you get like a little snippet vignettes of like the prelude of what happened to him becoming the Hulk. Maybe visually showing us instead of telling us, you know, of what happened, you know, little snippets. I think that could have helped.
Yeah, I mean, just something to help kind of give that foundation of this. This is kind of how this Superman in this universe exists. But I think it would have also, if you did that, and you maybe it's not the very first scene, but early on, if you've got him telling Lois like, "Hey, I am Superman," it then gives the audience a pathway to follow of the journey that Lois is going to go on for the rest of the film. Is the journey that we, the audience, are going to go on for the rest of the film as well, because you're kind of discovering this world through her eyes of like, okay, like I've known Clark for 3 years and I've known Superman for 3 years. I'm now understanding that they're the same person, and now I have to figure out how to cope and, you know, maneuver that, much in the way that Clark has been trying to figure out how to cope and maneuver that. Dylan, what were your thoughts overall with David, and is there anything you would have liked to have seen done differently or more? Or
I thought he was great as Superman. I thought he covered all aspects of the character well. About like Aaron was talking about, we got to see his righteous anger, we got to see his charisma, we got to see all these different aspects of Superman that he handled really well, because that was one of the things with Snyder's Superman was there wasn't a whole lot of character to that guy, but here there's a lot of character to him, and David Cornsett pulls it off really well. And I agree with Drew that there wasn't enough Clark Kent. This is something I talked about in my review, was that we got one scene of him actually as Clark Kent, because the rest of the scenes when he's Clark, he's around people that know he's also Superman, so there's nothing for him to, no facade for him to put up or anything like that. And there's no balancing act. There's no like he's in the Daily Planet office and then Metropolis is getting attacked, so he's got to be like, I forgot my dentist appointment, gotta go, or something like that. There's like none of that. We don't get it, which I would have loved to seen some of that stuff. Instead, like we forget. That was one of the big problems with Snyder's Superman also, was we got no Clark Kent essentially, like none at all. Literally in Man of Steel, he shows up in like the last 10 seconds. And I was looking forward to more Clark in this, and we got almost none. But the little bit we did get, he was good. I like that little bit with him and Jimmy. I also like later when Lois tries to do the bit with him that him and Jimmy did, and Jimmy kind of looks at her like, you're not one of the boys. What are you doing? When they're like trying to like hit each other. That was good, but I would have liked more of that. But Cornsweet was amazing. He was one of the best parts in the movie.
Yeah, I'll agree.
Dylan, you made me like just think of like I would love a like a Saturday Night Live sketch or something like that, where Clark Kent has to keep making excuses, but the best he can come up with is that he's shat himself. He keeps having to do that. Like, oh, I gotta do. They're like, Clark, do you have like IBS or something? Like, what's going on, man? It's like the third time today. Oh, well, I gotta go.
Yeah, it's real bad, man. I don't know, something about fresh cow milk versus the store-bought stuff. I don't know what's happening. Yeah, I think what I will say is tonally for Clark and Superman, I think they nailed the character. The earnestness that like exudes off of him was great. If there's anything I would complain about, it's like most of the time Superman's just getting the shit beat out of him. Like I would have liked to have seen him a little more successful in some of these instances, but also in some of these cases he wasn't even the one that saved the day, and I was like, okay, I get it, but I want to see Superman like fully saving the day.
It's a Superman film. He should be saving the day.
Yeah. I mean, we saw him save the day for the most part. And also from the beginning, we saw him lose them. They're like, you're not even at full power. What are you doing? He goes out and like, he's operating off that the whole thing. He's operating at like 50% for like the entire movie we see from everything he goes through. So this isn't even, and some of the things he does is crazy. Yeah.
It's a
so
really bad
I
week.
was,
If we had the title cards Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday,
Yeah. And he does save the day. So I was fine with how all that was handled.
It was. I think there was a point where he got punched back down right before we did the big finale with Ultraman, where he got punched back down into the big widening crevice that is opening up. Where I was like, I'm ready for this to be done. Like I'm ready for this part of the movie, this big punch up with Ultraman. I'm really ready for this to be done. And then fortunately, it ends like right there. I really thought that they were going to, as the fight went on, I thought maybe they were going to give us Bizarro. Like he was going to become more,
I mean, they basically did.
That's
why I think he got flung into Bizarro World. Is what I think that's turning into.
Bullseye, because you see all the Minecraft cubes in that lava pit go into that black hole. It's like, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
It could be.
Yeah. And then people were like, oh, you're fine with the because people online are mad that I liked it. Of course, they're like, oh, you're fine with Clark killing killing Ultraman, and I'm like, he didn't. He didn't stop him from going into the black hole, but Superman can survive going into a black hole, so I assume his clone did too. Just like via con Dios, buddy, wherever you end up. He phantom zoned him, as far as I'm concerned.
Pretty much. I mean, yeah. I do want to switch gears and kind of go to the Lois of it all. So we have Rachel Brosnahan playing Lois Lane. This is another casting that before the official casting came out, there were, I think, 3 to 4 women that were kind of in the final running, including Rachel. And I just remember being like, Rachel Brosnahan is the person that needs to play this role. Just cast her. And they did. But I kind of going back to what Dylan said earlier, I wanted more of the Daily Planet. So much more. I wanted more of reporter Lois Lane.
Yeah, not just that. I want to see more of Lois and Clark dating. Like, how does in this world, because we don't really see that, we just see them show up at the apartment, he's cooking breakfast for dinner, but it's like how does the dating work with them? Did she ask him out? Did they wait like 48 hours and like as their initial talking that he asked her out, or how does this work with them two, with these two? Did he wait until he revealed himself, or I don't know.
That's what I was wondering. Is like, what point did he reveal that he was Superman? Because if he did it before he asked her out on the date, then that that's kind of shallow. She's like, man, I'm gonna get some good loving out of this guy.
Yeah, that was one of my problems going into the movie from the trailers, was that you saw she knew Clark and Superman were one and the same, and I hate that because it's done in every single Superman movie. and it completely annihilates so much potential for storytelling with her not knowing Superman and Clark are the same. And also, we in the freaking in the latest Superman Treasury edition, Dan Jurgens put it's great. I'm paraphrasing, but he puts it something like Superman piqued her interest, but Clark won her heart. It's like I love that. We don't get that in this. It's like she's even ready to break up with Clark, and then she sees him do Superman things. She's like, I actually like this guy, and it's like it makes her seem really shallow. I like Lois in this movie aside from that.
Yeah,
that stuff annoys me.
No, I think you could make the argument that she sees the true nature of his character, and that like melts her cynicism about her problem with relationships. But it's all like it's not really built. It's stated, and then you know it, but it's not really expanded on or like built upon to where that feels like a big breakthrough moment, because it just feels like, yeah, of course, this is what happened.
And I do think their second conversation when the Justice Gang's fighting the Imp in the background is one of the best parts of the movie. I love that conversation between the two of them, and that little bit from Clark where he's like, yeah, and he's not even a very good dog, but he's sad and he's alone. He's probably scared. And it's like, oh, that's so good.
So
that was so damn good.
I love that part. And that's another one of the parts that we were talking about earlier where it's like, it's kind of a joke, but it's very natural. Like, it's funny when he's like, yeah, and he's not even a very good dog, but so earnest from Superman. The way he's saying it, it's that I love that line.
So I will say that scene that you're talking about, I think was one of the best written scenes, but I hated that all that was going on in the background.
I completely forgot about what was going on in the background because I was so invested in what was being said.
I was the opposite, and some of the friends that I went to go see the movie with felt the same way. They were like, I wanted to pay attention to Clark and Lois, and I kept getting distracted every time I saw lasers shooting out of either the
making a huge bat,
or and like book, 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 book.
I didn't mind any of that.
It didn't bother me because I was invested in the character.
I was invested, and it made it feel like this is really like the DC universe, because like, yeah, it's just something going on. It's like another Tuesday, and everyone's like, yeah, that's what happens. So I was fine with it.
I don't know.
And the fact that Guy is so dumb. That guy is just baseball bat. I made oven mitts. Like, it's just like all of his constructs are like, that's stupid. The best thing he does is the jaw, the muzzle that he puts on the kaiju. But that's like the best thing he does, aside from the end when he's doing the big hands coming up out of the ground. That was pretty good.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, I loved everything about that scene except for what was going on in the background. I even liked the humor and the reference of like, there's always going to be shit going on. We've got other people to help deal with it. I just wish it would have happened at a different time. And it kind of goes back to what Drew was saying. We get so little of Clark and Lois that I really just wanted to hone in on Clark and Lois. Because we do get that opening kind of scene with them at the Daily Planet. And then the next scene is kind of them like fighting and her saying like, oh, I knew this wasn't going to work. And I'm like, we're going to like extremes here, so just my take. But and I also think that had they done more with Lois of either what Dylan was saying about kind of lean into her as the reporter, not knowing the two sides, or even when I was mentioning about like have the movie start off with Clark telling her he is Superman. And this just goes all back to story structure for me. I feel like it would have helped structure the story in a much better way, that you could take all these things that we feel like were vignettes and put some like, I guess, purpose to them. But yeah, anything else that you guys wish we would have seen from Rachel as Lois?
I would have liked to have seen her in some, I mean, not like, because there's a big thing online about, she's like, how badly she's dressed. She is dressed badly. Not in the sense that like guys were like, I want her, like, look, here's a picture of her on the red carpet with her boobs out. And then here's what James Gunn gave us. It's like, yeah, there's nowhere in the movie that's appropriate for her to have her boobs out. Okay. Like she's working in every single scene that she's in, or she's coming home from work, so it's like ridiculous. That said, they picked some really ugly outfits for her. Like some really just like, uninteresting, kind
very
of
androgynous clothing.
And she has a long torso and like shorter legs. So it's like, there's a very specific, like kind of outfit you have to put her in, where she could have looked both tough and smart. And I think they could have done better, because a couple of those outfits, like when she's talking to the Justice Gang, I'm like, oh, that's not good. That's not a good look.
What does she tell Guy at that one point where he says something that's against?
Oh, your haircut
should be against your vows.
Yeah.
I'll have 364 chicks dig this haircut. Or whatever his line is.
That was one of the lines I loved. We're gonna go ahead and go on again and talk about our oh no, I forgot to change the name. Whoops. But we're gonna talk about Yeah, this, ladies and gentlemen, this is Rachel Brosnahan, and this is Lois Lane.
I didn't think her outfits were that bad, but Aaron's right. This is a rough look.
I mean, it's a good cut. It's a well-fit suit, but she's not her sexiest here.
Yeah, I will say Nicholas Hoult was someone that when cast, I'm like, okay, he's a good actor. I don't know what he's gonna do for Lex, and I don't know. I guess after Jesse Eisenberg, I'm always feeling nervous, but I was really, really surprised with what they did here. I liked what they did here. And I feel like this is also just like the tip of the iceberg of what we will and can see from Lex throughout the run of these films. Dylan, would you agree with that?
Yes, this is the best Lex we've ever gotten on screen. It's the most comic accurate Lex we got on screen. I was excited from the get-go when Nicholas Hoult was announced because I think he's one of the best actors working today, and I'm happy that's actually a Lex that is in the same age range as Superman instead of being 20 years older, and he's in good shape like Lex should be. So I was so happy with this casting and the way he had been talking about the character in the lead up and how much he had been inspired by the comics. You really see that put to screen, and he nailed it. I love pretty much. There's only one thing with Lex that I don't like about this movie, which I guess, are we going full blown spoilers or not? Because we've been like dipping it out. All right. It was Lex's girlfriend because he's so smart in this movie. And then she's just taking selfies in front of all of his nefarious plans the entire time. And he just doesn't care. And it's like, oh, he follows her through traffic lights, but he doesn't actually pay attention to the fact that she's taking pictures of everything, has all this evidence. That felt really stupid. It felt like something that Lex wouldn't be that dumb. But the rest of it was great with Lex. And I loved his many diatribes he went on, and everything was great. That bit about his envy driving him and is the only hope for humanity. So good. I like that he had studied Superman for so long that he has a move set to just destroy him, and he knows everything Superman's going to do. I love it. He was great. Even the I didn't like the super shit stuff like bothering Superman. I thought that was kind of out of character, but I like that Lex was that petty. He's like, I got a billion monkeys just saying the worst things about Superman online. Like, that's something Lex would do. Like, just any little thing he can do to get to one over on Superman. So I thought Lex was amazing in this movie. Arguably the best part. I love Lex in this movie.
Also, a bunch of monkeys with brain chips, very Silver Age. It wasn't a huge plot point. It was just a throwaway, thing.
Yeah.
And I dug it. Like, it's funny. I wasn't really excited though, because when Lex first goes into his pocket dimension, there was a little kid that had to be no more than 7 years old in the theater the second time I saw it that said, I heard him whisper to his dad, "Is that the Phantom Zone?" And I was like, yes, the kid like Superman that knows his stuff.
Good job, 7-year-old kid.
Dad's raising you right.
Aaron, I'm with you. Like I heard a lot of the complaints about the monkeys and then the super shit and everyone freaking out about it. That when it came into the context of the film and it was so fast and such a throwaway, I was like, why are people getting bent out of shape about this? Because I also felt it was very Silver Age. Pretty much anything Jimmy Olsen related was very Silver Age. And I kind of enjoyed those nods because I think those are the things that here's a nice nod to those of you that are comic book fans, going back. Even one of my friends that's in our comic shop's comic book club, he kind of mentioned that. He's like, there's a lot of nice nods to people who have read these comics for decades. And I agree with that. I also like that kind of what Dylan was saying, that Lex is younger here, because I do feel like we get, even though Lex is as smart as he is, I do feel like we get to see Lex as a younger person in terms of how he approaches going after Superman. That I'm just like, at some point he's going to grow even more jaded and a little more extreme with how he deals with Clark. So I feel like for me, that's like looking to the future, looking forward to whatever they do going forward. Drew, what were your thoughts on Lex?
Yeah, I thought he did a really good job. I just have a couple small nitpicks just here and there. I mean, for personally me, after watching the Superman animated series for so long in the Justice League, when you have that voice, that Clancy Brown voice, that deep voice, it just that deep imposing voice of Lex Luthor when he says alien. It's just, but his voice was too light for me. That was just my nitpick for his voice. I wish it was deeper, but and the other ones at the very end of this, look, Lex always has a way out. He always has a way out. Just like James Bond. He always has a way out, except for the last film. Don't watch that one. But it just, and I didn't like that he was just simply arrested. I looked at Kyle, I'm like, really? Come on. I mean,
but
he
is what it
did
is.
have a way out, but he was caught. And also, Lex has been arrested 800 times in the comics, so he had his way out. He just got caught before he got his way out.
And I'm hoping it's quickly addressed, like as soon as like in the next one, like I was let go in 24 hours, whatever. Just it was a BS charge.
No, you just make him. He escapes and he's on the run and he's wearing the big purple collar with the green canisters, crisscrossed across his chest, and he's just in full. He's got the Legion of Doom rising up out of the swamp.
Aaron, look, if we get that, I will be a kid in the candy store. Like that's like so far. Like, if we legit get that, I will be ecstatic. But I'm just like I'm keeping my expectations realistic. I just have a feeling we're not going to get that, although I hope we do. But that would be fantastic.
James Gunn likes the goofier stuff. Like,
yeah,
I'm sure we'll see him in a big green power armor. I'm sure we're going to get that in the future. Although they said that they said they're not. It's not going to necessarily be a Superman sequel. That's the follow up to this film.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I think clearly Supergirl is going to be the kind of follow up for sure.
That's gonna fall flat on its face, too.
Oh God, yeah. We'll talk about her towards the end. Let's talk about Lex's lackeys. So two in particular, he's got Ultraman and the Engineer, and then Rick Flag kind of gets worked in this cohort to a degree.
Flag Senior.
Yeah, Rick Flag Jr.
No, this is Senior.
No, Senior. This is the dad. Junior's
okay,
dead.
that's right. Oh, that's right.
Even though Kinnaman and Frank Grillo are not that far apart in age.
I was gonna say,
I mean, it's like Indiana Jones' Last Crusade. They're like 10 years apart.
Yeah.
But
I want to start with the Engineer because for me, this was the really interesting kind of choice to bring in because it's a character from the Authority that gets brought in. I think it's a good character to have going against Superman. I think there's a lot of stuff you can do with the Engineer. I think this is kind of another area where I wish we'd have focused more on character a little bit to see Lex kind of making her, I guess would be the right word. And then kind of what her motivations were. Because if there's one thing I hate, I hate like, here's lackey number one. I feel like we can do better. But what were your thoughts on Engineer? Whoever wants to jump in.
I'll say. Go ahead.
No, go for it, Dylan.
I was just gonna say I felt the same about her and Ultraman and Rick Flag, which is they're just nothing characters in this movie. Like they were just not. They're just there to be pawns. That's it. Should have been Mercy. Obviously, it makes no sense for it to be the Engineer, but they were just nothing characters. This is something that I'll say Man of Steel did better, which is I liked Feora. And this, like all the secondary villains are just they're whatever. Could have done without them. They're just literally there just for Superman to punch something. Also has one of the funniest in terms of how stupid it was, like exposition dumps where they're there at the Fortress of Solitude. Just like, yes, this is why I gave away my humanity and let you put nanobots in me. It's like, what the what? Why?
That was
why
the dumbest, most jarring line in the film. And I'm glad you brought it up because I was going to. Like, that was like what I was gonna throw out there was like, I liked her. I liked the actress well enough. I liked what they, like the powers they gave her and the things that they did with her in the movie as far as fighting Superman. But yeah, a nothing character, and that line was just excruciating. And I feel like that was almost something like, we had to cut footage that gave more of an explanation of who she was. So now I just have to have her say some shit in the Fortress of Solitude to get across, so people aren't going like, well, what's her deal? Although that didn't help. We're still all going, well, what's her deal though?
Yeah. It also felt like they were going to do something more with her because Superman's trying to talk to her at the stadium. And maybe that's setting up something for future movies.
Yeah,
he's like, you don't have to do
the
this.
Authority. I guarantee it because she is with the Authority. So that could be
Well, and that's what I was going to say. Like, I wish they would have maybe. And look, I'm not saying you have to do a ton, but little lines here and there can go a long way. And she was in enough scenes that you could have had little like lines that were kind of throwaway lines that holistically would have added up to something. But maybe her outlook is that of what the Authority has, and maybe that's why she's doing what she does. Like anything like that, just to give her a little context of who are you and what are you doing and why, would have made her so much more well-rounded. Because I agree, I liked everything she did, but she was just so two-dimensional that I didn't care. As for the Ultraman of it all, like
what's funny about that, Josh, is that if anyone has read The Boys, read the comic, not watched the Amazon series, is that the big twist at the end is that it's a clone of Homelander, but the Amazon series fudged that up, willfully, which is a stupid idea. But yeah, they took Garth Ennis' brilliant idea and executed it well here. Well,
I guess what I don't like about it is I'm so sick of seeing like amalgamations of characters. Like either bring it in as like Bizarro and say it's a clone and just go with it, or bring it in as Ultraman. Like if he's creating pocket universes, he can easily access another universe. So if he finds and I would have almost found that more compelling if he finds a Clark from another universe and shows how awful he is. That just helps Lex's plan of like, you really don't know this guy. You don't know why he's actually here. And I think that would have created just a nice emotional undertow. But we got this Bizarro type thing, which is fine. But like Aaron, when they were at the big fisticuffs at the end, I was like, I'm ready for this to be over with. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Dylan,
I don't care that he's fighting a clone of himself. It's not interesting. And again, it's the same problem that we have with so many superhero movies is you're fighting a guy that's got the same powers as you at the end. And in this case, it's actually you. It's a clone of you. So like, I'm like, I don't find that compelling. I don't find that interesting. I want to see, I thought it was more interesting when he was fighting the engineer because her powers are not something that he can easily punch. It's like what she's doing is harder to get around. And I just find that more interesting.
I really like the moment where they're fighting in the stadium and she just starts filling his lungs with her like nanobites or whatever it is. And then like his immediate thing is I've got to get as high and as cold as possible and then come back down as fast as
in the payoff afterwards, we just see how deep that was down his throat. And he's like, pull that whole, it's like, Jesus.
I love the bit where she attaches to his arm and he's got to hit Ultraman. He's like, well, and then he just starts throwing her and Ultraman just starts going. That bit was great. It's like, well, if you're along for the ride, this is what we're doing.
That's right. I'm going to hit you with Engineer, I guess.
Yeah, that was great.
Dylan, do you have any other thoughts on Ultraman and maybe what you would have liked to have seen done differently?
They should have just made him Bizarro from the get-go because if you've read, because from the beginning, I'm like, this is just gonna be Bizarro. It's gonna be a clone of him, and it's gonna be Bizarro. And then when it happens, like, oh wow, it's Bizarro.
Yeah.
So it should have just been Bizarro because if you introduce Ultraman, I feel like things get even more complicated. Also, it's even harder to do because then there's more of a power struggle between Lex and Ultraman, and that doesn't really work too well. So I didn't want it to be Ultraman, but it should have just been Bizarro. And then you could have done things cool because, you have the reverse of like fire breath and like cold eyes. Like you could have done some cool stuff to make it a little different and more interesting and play with one of the most interesting parts when Bizarro shows up is Superman does have that struggle of like, I'm kind of fighting a special needs guy, but he's also incredibly powerful. Like you have that great Jeff Johns story where he goes to Bizarro world and Pa Kent kind of teaches him like, hey, this is still life here. And because Superman's kind of like, I don't even really know what to do about these guys because they cause a lot of problems.
Yeah,
are they really people?
Yeah, have fun with the power. Have fun with the different power that Bizarro has compared to Superman.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That'd be so much fun. But I'm hoping we get to explore that more in the future. But we'll see what happens. We have great imaginations right now. We're exploring everything we want to see. Josh, we had this at the end of X2. Things we wanted to see to come. We didn't get any of that, but we'll see if we get the stuff in the future.
I will say, like, the biggest complaint we've really had so far is just that we wanted more, and that's one of the things. Like, it's not a bad thing. I think if we're wanting more, that often means we were enjoying what we were getting. Maybe it just felt a little anemic. And then, as far as Rick Flag goes, like, he's here.
Yes.
I'm sure he's going to play, a bigger impact later.
Yeah. Josh, I got to go. Thanks for having me. It was a blast. Dylan.
You're also muted,
Aaron,
Josh.
Great seeing you guys. Yeah. So everyone check out Superman. It's worth a watch. And if you can, go pick up Absolute Superman by Jeff Johns.
Yes, it's amazing.
Yes, it's damn good.
Indeed.
Later, guys.
Later, Drew. Thank you for coming on, brother.
Yep.
I do want to switch from the team of bad guys to the team of good guys. So, Dylan, I know you said that you could have done without the Justice Gang, but I'm not gonna lie. Some of my favorite parts in this movie were them. So I don't want to get rid of them, just on that alone.
See, so I liked Guy Gardner and Mr. Terrific. They were really cool. Hawkgirl is I can throw her with Ultraman then where she's just a nothing character. She
Same.
also it's kind of funny because like they show the scene of her getting inspired by Superman when she's watching the TV, but she gets inspired to murder a guy. So
Yeah.
it's like maybe you took the wrong message there. Even as much as that guy deserved it, but still like maybe you took the wrong message there. But yeah, she's just a nothing character. I like the casting, but just a whatever. I liked Guy Gardner and Mr. Terrific. It's just it could have been better if you got rid of them and focused on the core Superman characters. Because as much as I like Mr. Terrific and Guy Gardner, if there was more Mom Pa Kent, if there was more of the Daily Planet, I would have liked that more than what I got from Terrific and Guy Gardner. Like Terrific has that great fight scene, which felt very Guardians of the Galaxy, and Nathan Fillion killed it as Guy Gardner. Also, something I brought up on Aficionados to Aaron, but I want to ask you too, Josh. Did Mr. Terrific sound like Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder? Like his voice and his cadence? He sounded just like him, didn't he?
You know what? I had not thought about that, but now that you mentioned it, yes, he sounds just like it.
Just like him. When I was watching, I thought that the first time I watched, like he sounds just like Robert Downey Jr.
Well, and I
But he's
also
great.
I wasn't expecting Terrific's voice to be lower like that and kind of like just deeper in that slower cadence because I've seen Edie Gathegi in other things, you know, and I was expecting his normal voice, and I got that, and I was like, huh, okay. And it took me a little, just a second or two to kind of get settled with it. But then after that, I was like, all right, I'm on board. I'll agree. I loved Mr. Terrific. I think he is more so the actual hero of the film in a lot of ways.
Completely
'cause
disagree on that.
You disagree
Well,
on
like,
that?
at the end, he's shitting his pants, going, "Superman, I need you. I can't do this. Superman, I need you right here. I
Yeah.
can't stop this."
He got Superman out of the Phantom Zone, and he had that cool little Guardians of the Galaxy style scene where he takes out all those
Yeah.
guys, which was fun. But yeah, no, it's like
He's
look,
very much a side hero. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, he can't save all the people that are going to need
Also,
saving as
He
the
gets
city
knocked
is
the
dividing. in
fuck
half.
out in the stadium. Remember, he gets
Mhm.
dragged with him. People forget that he's a part of that fight. He gets knocked out instantly. Remember the fight in the stadium? He just went. Pfft. So he is not the main hero. Not
No,
even
I'm not
close.
saying he's the main
He can't
hero.
even stop his T-spheres from getting grabbed by
Oh my
Crypto.
gosh.
Yeah.
Hey. We're going to talk about that goodest boy in a second.
I liked Mr. Terrific, but saying he's like the big hero that saves everyone is completely wrong.
Well, my point is, if you didn't have him stepping in, Superman would have been kind of like lost into that pocket universe. Like he's very much the reason they get out. So
Yeah,
I mean, he's the reason they
Superman
get out,
escapes
but
on his
also,
own, but-
yeah, Superman escapes on his own, and knowing Superman, he finds a way. I have no doubt Superman could have found a way. It just would have taken longer. Like that's who he is,
Mhm.
possibly.
you know.
Possibly.
And also, like that helps with one of the complaints that like normies have about Superman, which is he's too overpowered and he can just do everything. It's like here he needed help in situations, and he got
Yeah.
help. And like I'm fine. Like I'm fine with that.
Yeah, he got by with a little help from his friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good message.
Cue the song.
But now it's like what Dylan, when you brought that up about him sounding like Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder, like in my head, I just got this image of him hugging Superman and going, "Now we up in the big leagues. We gotta turn it back."
No, I thought he had some cool scenes though. Kind of going with Lois. I agree with you that T-sphere scene, very reminiscent of Guardians 3, where they had that kind of fight going on. But I just thought he had the most initiative of like, let's take action and fix this.
Well, see, taking action is against Guy Gardner's vow.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But also, he did have to get convinced by Lois to do it. He wasn't on his own. Like, I'm gonna go help Superman. Lois had to go in there, and even then, he second guessed because at first he's like no, and then as she's leaving, he's like, I guess I should go. So
Right.
he didn't really have initiative. He had to get convinced.
That's fair.
One joke that I liked was the slow-moving garage door. You know, it's like
Oh, I could have
you
done without that.
Yeah,
See, I
I
was
agree.
fine with-
I agree with Josh there.
Mhm. I was fine with it because of his response, where it's like, I still haven't worked on that yet. Like, get off my. It's like it just reminds me of like Ryan George going, "I'm gonna need you to get all the way off my back about this."
See, I really like the joke after where Lois is oversharing about their relationship. He just looks at her with the most deadpan face, like I could not care less about your relationship drama, and she just
The fact
keeps
that
going.
you're
and she's
still
like,
talking about this after I told you I don't care.
yeah, that bit was great.
I did like his deadpan stares because we got a few of them throughout there.
Yeah.
I loved Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner. I was a little worried about that coming in because this was an area where I thought, you know, if James Gunn's gonna go ham with the James Gunness, it's gonna be Guy, but it still very much felt like Guy Gardner.
Mhm.
But also Nathan Fillion. So I thought it was a good balance. And I agree with what Aaron said earlier. Every scene that he was in, I feel like he stole that scene. And the constructs that he was making that were so basic, and then to we're of the same cloth.
Yeah, we are also of the cloth. It's
Yeah.
hilarious.
I love when he's like, so you also know that he's Clark Kent, and she's like, why does he trust everybody?
No, I'm really excited to see what else he does. I'm curious to see how they fit him into that Lantern show though, because he's billed for all 8 episodes, and I'm just kind of like, huh.
He's in Peacemaker season 2 as well. I saw a scene that.
Yeah. It looks like they're holding auditions for the Justice Gang, and it's like him, Hawkgirl, and
Senior Flag.
Was it? No, I thought it was it Flag, or was it James Gunn's brother?
Oh, is it Max Lord?
yeah.
Yeah, I think they're like holding auditions for the Justice Gang.
Now that's the Gunn casting I'm mad about. He should not be Max Lord. He should not be Max Lord.
I feel like
he shouldn't have been Calendar Man. He shouldn't have been Calendar Man either. In his little cameo in the Suicide Squad.
I mean, that bothered me less than Max Lord, because it's very clear they're going to have a story with Max Lord, and I'm just like, eh. The only thing that might be the saving grace with him as Max Lord is what I saw from him in the Terminal List, and he can do intense pretty well, better than I expected.
He's not a bad actor. He's not built for Maxwell Lord. Yeah, he looks really weird, and he's just not built to play that character. The type of character he is, like, you can't be casting that guy.
I'll take it over Pedro Pascal.
I would take Pedro Pascal over him.
Yeah.
Max Lord, you have to give me the stone.
That's not Pascal's fault.
Yeah.
No, it's not. But his face, is like, I'm like, I think that's the real reaction to what just happened. Like,
yeah, that's the reaction you'd have too.
I don't think that's acting. I think that was just him going, oh.
Code Man came in without surprise. How good Nathan Fillion did as Guy Gardner, because I was so used to him voicing Hal Jordan. Fair.
See, I thought Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I
was gonna say, I thought he was gonna kill this guy. My only complaint, like going in, was the fact that he's so old, along with all the other Lanterns, other than John Stewart. It's like Hal's old, Sinestro's old, Guy's old. That's my only problem. But I thought Nathan Fillion had the chops to kill it as Guy Gardner, and he did. It's just he's like 56 or whatever. It's like starting a universe with a 56-year-old Guy Gardner's.
Let's say he's younger and have him do some beef tallow on his face, leading up to filming, and we'll get to, it's like we can get him. He's maybe his early 40s. I don't know.
I also did see a tweet today from some dad posted that he's like, my 3-year-old son asked after seeing Superman to get the Guy Gardner haircut, and his son's got the bowl cut now. I was like, that's pretty cool. Like his kid after seeing this movie, he's like, I need the Guy Gardner haircut.
There was a kid in my theater too. It wasn't the same kid as that knew the Phantom Zone, but there was a kid that was like, he's Green Lantern. He's not Hal Jordan. And I was like, cool. There's
in your area, just all the kids just know comic books.
No, this was actually in Anaheim. So I went to Anaheim to go to the second time to go see it with Jesse Snyder. My theater was empty the first, pretty empty the first time I saw it, because I went to like the Thursday matinee. And then Friday night, I went out and saw it in Anaheim with Jesse, and then that theater was packed. There was a lot of kids in there.
I do want to wrap things up, and there's not going to be much to say here. But Hawkgirl, I'm not going to lie, I hated Hawkgirl. I throw her in the sun. I was so sick of the screaming. I know we mentioned this. Yeah. They got some weird shots of her too, doing the screaming. And then even when she wasn't fighting, I thought her character was a total bitch. And I was like, I'm good. I don't need this.
Well, her entire character was, I don't like the Justice Gang thing. That's all there is to her character.
Yeah, that's all they really gave her. I mean, I thought she delivered the lines well. I thought her banter back and forth with Nathan Fillion about the stupid name. I was like, I thought that was really going to annoy me, because it's like, I've seen this joke a million times, and we kind of just did it in the Thunderbolts. And granted, like, those are two things that were being developed at the same time, so there's no way to really course correct probably, but I thought that she delivered it well, and I just like looking at Isabel Merced, and I didn't hate her. You're right, she had nothing to do except at the very end, but I would like to see her get a chance to do more as Hawkgirl.
Yeah,
because I love the way the helmet looks on her. Like
Look wise, I think she looks good. She was clearly there to be the like, mean girl in a way.
She's there to be the
Like,
eye rolling girl to all of because it's like, okay, Mr. Terrific has to be stoic. She's got to be the one who's rolling her eyes constantly at the Guy Gardner's,
Right.
shenanigans.
I mean, even Mr. Terrific gave guys some side eye a couple of times.
Felt worse from him because it's like,
Yeah.
it's like, okay, she's annoyed with you, but when Mr. Terrific's doing it, it's actually somebody going, you need to just do better.
Yeah.
Like we're not mad, we're just disappointed.
I will say that she has, and Dylan mentioned this earlier, but she drops that world leader to kill him. And that was one of the things that I hated about this movie. That was one of my biggest points of contention about this entire movie is not even like, oh, that she necessarily dropped a guy and killed him. Like, that's part of it. But you also spent the beginning of this movie setting up that Superman even remotely involving himself to stop a war, but not kill anyone, is causing all this political issues between these nations. And then she actually kills a world leader and we're supposed to be fine with it. I'm like, the two things don't line up here.
I mean, I was fine with her killing that guy just because it's Hawk Girl and that guy had it coming.
Yeah, but she is a representative of the United States. Like, she is. And
but nobody
Superman,
saw it happen. Nobody saw her drop him.
Gosh.
She was up really high, and I was like,
how'd that happen? Maybe he jumped.
My only problem with that was the fact that it's like she's inspired by Superman and then she murders a guy. It's like, oh, picked the wrong message there. That's my only problem with that, because as far as her killing him, I don't really care that much, especially because now you can kind of have the scapegoat of it's not the same as just going into a country and killing a world leader, because you learn about all the the entire world learns about the whole Lex Luthor interference and all that stuff. So it kind of opens it up to, oh, now things are different. It's not just two countries going at it. But yeah, her being inspired by Superman to murder this guy was a little
Yeah, it would have worked better if she would have said, you're like just something along the lines of when he's like, you're like Superman. She's, and then she kind of like acts like she's gonna drop him and then catches him again. Is like, you're lucky I'm trying to be more like him. Just something like that. Then that would have paid off the her coming out of the shower and seeing him on TV and being like, oh man, got to do something.
If I'm being honest, I would have even been okay if Guy was the one that killed him. But like,
if Guy would have killed him,
like, Guy has a construct of a hand that just like thumps him off the balcony or something, and he's like, "Oh my god, you see that? He jumped."
One thing that both Marie and Jesse said in the two different shows, like Marie said, I don't remember Hawk Girl being that useless, because her only exposure to Hawk Girl is from the Justice League cartoon. And then Jesse was like, boy, Hawk Girl just doesn't have anything to do, like nothing really to contribute, does she? Like, because even when they're fighting the kaiju, she's just like hitting it with her mace.
Oh yeah, she gets her mace stuck in its eye.
Yeah.
Real quick, and I thought this ended up being one of the more powerful scenes, but we're going to go on to the newest recruit for the Justice Gang, and that is Anthony Kerrigan playing Metamorpho Rex. He really only has that one scene in the prison, and he kind of shows up at the end, but I thought that scene in the prison was actually quite powerful. The fact that you have Lex kind of using leverage over him because he's got his son and he's forcing him to create kryptonite, I thought that was a compelling story. I even like that he is so against Superman doing anything just for the sake of like, I've got to do what Lex says to protect my son. And then after they witness Lex kill the human, and I can't think of the character's name, but that's when he's like, oh my God, like, no matter what we do, there's no good end to this. And that's when he changes. The only thing I would have changed is I thought his crying came off a little comedic. The way he cried, I would have adjusted that just a little bit, but that whole scene in that cube, I thought was fantastic.
Yeah, it didn't bother me, his crying. Like, I didn't even think about it. The fact that he broke down after he saw that, I thought was really good. I like beforehand when Superman's trying to talk to him and he's yelling at him not to talk to him. It's like, because he knows what he's doing is wrong, what he's doing for Lex is wrong, and he hates himself for it. And it's like, I can't let this guy, I don't even want to recognize this guy as a human being. Like, I have to be able to shut him up, because it's gonna weaken me. And then when he sees what happens, he realizes that, like, there's no way out of this. Like, I am responsible. I am now culpable because I allowed this to happen. Because I'm just going along with it. So I have to course correct. And I loved that. I thought that was set up very well. the little fight in the river, like the digital river or whatever it was, I was like, I could have done without. Like, there was a couple of big set pieces I could have done without this, but overall, yeah, I thought it was well done.
Yeah, I thought him creating that fake sun was a really kind of nice moment too. Probably one of the better like heartfelt moments. I mean, there are plenty of moments of hope, but I feel like that was like the moment of like inspiration. Like, okay, we've got a way out. Like, here we go.
And then when you see the raptors looking at it, you see like the light like that's in this place that's like just completely dark the whole time we see it. But then you see that light. I thought that was like a nice little Superman metaphor.
Lead out.
Like, he is this light in the darkness. Superman's coming to save you. It reminded me of Garth Ennis on Hitman, which I've talked about a lot in regards to this movie and the immigration allegory. But just the moment where he says, the idea that people have is, if Superman's here, everything's going to be okay. And that kind of reminded me of that light reminded me of that moment.
Yeah. Dylan, anything you want to add on Rex?
Yeah, that scene was great. I loved all that because it was very believable. It's like, how do you get this guy to switch to helping Superman? It's like, well, he just saw a man get executed in front of him, and like he breaks down. It's like, that was great. That would do it. Yeah. That would make you be like, all right, now I'm gonna try. And that scene where he creates something, he's like, hydrogen is really good. And I love the way all that's filmed. Because I remember people talking about looking goofy in the trailer when like you get the pull back and he punches the glass. But I thought how it was all done in the movie, it was really cool with the big light and everything. I love that scene. And also, like, I don't know if any of you guys watched Barry on HBO, the Bill Hader show, but he's from that. He's amazing in that show. Also, the Asian guy that's part of the U.S. government was also from Barry. So seeing some Barry alum in here was cool. But yeah, I thought he was good. I didn't have any problem with his crying. I thought it was cool. I liked it.
I also like Metamorpho as a character. I'm a big Batman and the Outsiders fan, so I hope they do more with that character moving forward. And Aaron, I'm gonna kind of piggyback what you're saying about that, cube pixelated river thing. I did not like that. I thought that was for me, it was so hard to tell what was actually going on. And then the entire time that Superman's in there holding baby Joey up, I'm like, yeah, no, he would have gone under by now. Like,
but plus they're also shooting him. They're also shooting him in the river. And it's like, okay, but he's just holding baby Joey up. How is baby Joey not catching a stray? Like, it's like,
yeah.
Baby Joey was less dumb looking than the dolls and stuff like that.
I like that scene. And also it's just something you complained about earlier, not seeing Superman like do enough or save the day or like show how powerful he is. That scene shows it. Like the fact that he's treading the whole time when Mr. Terrific's like, you're dead if you go in there. And the fact that he gets him, Crypto, all of them out of there with his super breath against a black hole was insane and shows how powerful he is. And I like that. Again, after being weakened, because the whole time the Raptor's like, he's weakened, we got to get him now.
No, I just didn't. When I say I didn't like it, I'm saying that
scene.
I didn't love the visual.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. Like, the story-wise, I thought it was fine. But like the visual, I was starting to go like, I having trouble telling what's going on. Like, I guess he's just getting shot a lot and he's holding the baby up.
All right. I wish he would have like grabbed onto something and would have been fighting it at that point and then still something. But the way it was filmed for me was what I did not like, because
I wish he would have thrown the baby as a projectile and taken out the. Oh wait, no, that's not what I want.
Hey, this isn't the Flash. Okay, calm down.
He puts the baby in a microwave that's right there, and just that was a weird scene.
James Gunn, we had an answer right there. Just put the baby in a microwave, we would have been fine. Let's talk about Crypto, the goodest bad dog ever. A lot of people have been hating on Crypto. I didn't mind Crypto. I will say, from a dog owner, he used to work as a dog trainer. I'm like, train your damn dog. But I guess that's more on Supergirl. But I had fun watching Crypto. Like, I didn't mind it.
Yeah, except for that last little bit that he does that Dylan referenced, which was a crowd pleaser. I get why it's there. The crowd loved it. The kids loved it. But for me, it undercut what I was really interested in was seeing the Lex Clark dynamic, like Lex Superman dynamic play out.
Yes. So we can go ahead and spoil it. So what happens at the end is you finally get your confrontation between Superman and Lex. And as they're having their confrontation, and Lex is very much saying like, yeah, I hate you because of A, B, and C. Crypto just like swoops in, gets him, and starts shaking him. Like, it's very much like Hulk with Loki and the Avengers, just like beating him around like a rag doll. And I felt I had two moments where I felt like the movie got undercut. I mentioned earlier the Clark Lois conversation with them in the background with the imp. I know y'all didn't agree. That's just how I felt on that one. And this, I was like, oh. And I actually found this clip online and I sent it to Max, because Max is like, I'm not going to go see this movie. But
why is Max being such a curmudgeon?
Max isn't the biggest movie guy. But Max was like, I hate everything about that. Like that's all he responded was, I hate everything about that. But overall, what did you guys think about crypto? Are you glad that we got crypto in this movie? Just kind of what are your general thoughts there?
I liked crypto. My only big complaint is, like I already said, about that scene that we just talked about, and the fact that he's Kara's. He should be Clark's. That's one of the best moments in Superman's Secret Origin, where Superman gets back from hanging out with Legion of Superheroes. And he's like, I finally got to hang out with people that are like me, that I can relate with. And then he gets back and can't do anything because he recently played football and broke his friend's arm. And so his parents are like, no doing anything with their friends. So he's just like, this sucks. And then Crypto's pod lands. It's like he's got a best friend now that he can go fly around with. And it's so great. And in this, like, no, he's just a foster situation. He's just watching him and it's not his dog. It's like, that kind of takes away some of the emotion there, especially the post-credit scene where they're there on the moon together. It's like, it kind of takes that away because, like, it's not even your dog. Like, that's my big complaint. But other than that, I liked Crypto. I thought he was used well. He was funny. He was great for the marketing campaign. From what I've seen from people who watch the movies with their kids, everyone was saying that like their kid's favorite part was Crypto. So I thought Crypto was good. Those are my only 2 complaints. Also, the CG for Crypto is amazing. He looks so good.
Yeah. I mean, they motion captured James Gunn's dog, and like everything to the ear is just how his dog is. So kudos there. I would say that Crypto looks a little different than I always imagined him, because I almost imagined more of like that Labrador type coat.
Yeah, he's a different kind of
white.
dog.
Yeah.
But I was fine with this. I wish we would have had, and this is just me being an animal guy, I wish we would have had more of a serious moment of Crypto, despite being the little shit that he is, constantly biting, Clark's feet, because that's usually just a dog playing. Like, it's bored and wants to play. I wish there would have been a moment where Crypto realized, like, oh, Superman's in trouble, and he jumps in to actively like protect. Just a nitpick little thing because I'm a dog guy, but
he does it when they invade the Fortress of Solitude. He goes right at Engineer.
Oh no, yeah,
Like
but
a good guard dog.
No. I understand that. I'm looking at that as more like protecting my territory, but anyone that has like a really deep connection with animals, like your animal will know when something is wrong with you, and they'll step in and try to do things. I wish we would have had a moment of him recognizing like Clark is in trouble.
But that's the thing. They don't have the deep connection because it's not his dog.
But
that's what sucks.
That
and you know that it's only Supergirl's dog, so they can cram him into the Supergirl movie, probably.
Of course.
To try to salvage.
And
that
so they
Tom
don't
King
have
mess.
to deal with him in future Superman movies. So they don't have to be like, if Superman's at a pinch, be like, where's Krypto? Be like, well, he's not Superman's dog.
Like in every Marvel movie where you're like, well, where are the Avengers?
Yeah.
Where are the Avengers? David Cornsweet also apparently had his dog on set most days, which I thought was cool. But apparently it was his mom's dog, and I don't know if his mom passed away or what, but he has that dog now.
Codeman says this Clark might be a cat person, so they can introduce Streaky to Super Cat.
Oh no.
If we get like, this is definitely a universe where we could get Beppo the super monkey and Comet the super horse. Like, this is definitely. I'm just glad that we had Crypto and not voiced by Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
Oh God. Yep. Fair. But no, I thought Crypto was fun. I loved when he was getting Mr. Terrific's T-spheres, and he was like, "Bro, come on, man."
Those are not cheap.
And I liked that the one thing I liked about the Bizarro / Ultraman fight with Superman is when Superman's like, "Crypto, get the toys," and he's just like taking out all Alexa's cameras. Like, all right, I'm good.
You know what I wanted to ask? The
What?
dude with the terrible haircut, the big thick glasses, and the bad mustache in Lex's crew, that's Bruno Mannheim, right? The leader of Intergang? That's who he's supposed to be?
I have
Because he
no
looks
idea.
like Bruno Mannheim.
Maybe.
I didn't pay too much attention to it.
You did not pay attention to the guy with the black hair and the big
I-
glasses and the mustache.
I did, but I didn't pay attention in the respect of thinking he was supposed to be like a specific character. Because James Gunn's always got weird looking people, and I was like, geez, he's doing weird shit again. But I'll have to go back and see if he's actually got like a character credit like listing. Let's talk Jimmy Olsen. I loved Jimmy Olsen in this, and I thought Jack Larson looked perfect, played the part perfectly. He was the right balance of the golly gee willikers, but also like modern day. Like You know, he's the guy that shouldn't be getting hit on, that you wouldn't expect to be getting hit on, but he is, and he's like, I don't know, but I'll take it. From start to finish, everything that he did, I was like, it was perfection to me, and I was like, I'm loving this, and I can't wait to see more of him. And I'll just say that. But also another like big kind of hero in a way of like he's the one that connects the dots a little too easily. But Eve Tessmacher, the fact that she's obsessed with him and always sends him selfies, and that's how they find Superman. It was one of the things that I thought was going to be really bad, and I enjoyed. Anything you guys want to add about Jimmy?
Casting was great. I was so happy they cast him. He was perfect. I would have liked more Jimmy. I wish we would have seen him taking some photos. We saw him working on a camera on his desk, but it would have been cool to see him take some photos or something. But yeah, I thought he was great. I really liked him. The little stuff with Eve was fun. It just didn't make sense for this Lex to get defeated in that way.
Yeah.
That's all. It was really stupid. But
Agreed.
taking that away, it was fun. And the whole thing where just every girl likes him and no one knows why. Like Lois is like, how? And he's like, just so it's very Will Ferrell and the other guys where he's just like oblivious to it. But it's great. I love that scene where he's on the phone with her and he's just pumping his fist, just like, yeah. And then she's like, so we're gonna hang out all weekend, right? He's like, all weekend? That was great. Yeah.
I also feel like the women liking him is very much like a Jimmy Olsen like 60s comic type thing of like you can't explain it, but it's funny and it's hilarious. And I also kept thinking like, are these monkeys at any point going to lead to anything with gorillas?
Yeah.
And if you know Jimmy Olsen's background, you know, but yeah.
It's like when people were like, they were saying like, oh, we could do like a Jimmy Olsen show, and people were like, what the hell would you do with a Jimmy Olsen show? I'm like, Jimmy Olsen had a lot of comics.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so much you could do. Jimmy Olsen would lend himself perfectly to an HBO show. There's so much stuff you could do.
And James Gunn. Like, that is right up James Gunn's alley.
You would get Turtle Boy. Like, you would get all that weird stuff.
Yeah. You could do all that weird shit, and people would go, oh, James Gunn's being James Gunn. You're like, no, this is actually the Jimmy Olsen comic.
Yep.
We won't spend much time here, but Eve Tessmacher, clearly the kind of MacGuffin of the movie in a lot of ways. Like, she's the reason Superman gets free. As Zilla mentioned, it's very unbelievable that that Lex would just let her kind of do these things when he's watching her so closely elsewhere. So yeah, I thought I was going to hate this character, and I didn't mind the character, but I'm with Dylan, and I didn't like the way that this was Lex's downfall.
Yeah, I don't like what it says about Lex.
Yeah, they didn't really even set up why she's there. They didn't set up like he's trying to put up like this persona of like having beautiful women or anything like that, or that he's that type of person. So there's not even really like, it's just like, why is she even there? It's just, well, she's in the original, she's in the Christopher Reeve Superman, so we threw her in here. That's what it felt like.
The only hint they gave to that was that Lex had like another one of his girlfriends in his little whatever they called his void. But that's it. And that's another area where I feel like, because we were doing so much just catch up to set the pace, like those little moments that could have added a lot of texture just briefly were kind of lacking, that I wouldn't have minded being in the film.
He executes that guy so coldly that it didn't make sense to me that he would even put his ex-girlfriends in a prison. Like, why not just kill them or have them killed, or kill them and then dump their body into the digital river? Like, there's just no reason for him to have all of these people prisoner who serve no purpose for him going forward. Like, I understand why he's got Metamorpho there, because he can use him against Superman, but like everybody else, just kill him and be done with it.
Yeah. I mean, that could have even been a great scene too, that if they saw him kill someone, and then have one of the people say like, why am I still here? And he's like, because you're of use, and then just walk away. Like, it's such a cold thing that would have really, I mean, we still got aspects of that, but yeah.
So I love that line. Just going back to Lex Luthor, that line when it's coming through and he's like, we got to stop it. And he's like, no, they chose Superman. They can live with this. I'll stop it before it gets to the part of the city I care about. I was like, oh, that's so good. That's so Lex Luthor. I love it.
It shows it. Yeah. Cause I thought better than anyone, they captured how petty Lex is. And just, that's what I really like seeing in this film, was how petty he was.
Well, when people were freaking out on Twitter when they were, because James Gunn said that like, oh, Lex also doesn't like the fact that Superman's handsome. And then people were complaining about that on Twitter. And I'm like, have you read the comics? Like, Lex is that petty. He and Dr. Doom are in a race to see who is the most petty supervillain in either of those two universes.
Yeah. I know we kind of touched on these guys briefly, but I do want to go to the Daily Planet staff because Dylan, you mentioned earlier, like we really could have used a lot more of the Daily Planet here. But I'd like to see, what all would you like to have seen done differently, and how else would you like to have seen them play into this?
I just wanted more of them because I like the little bit we got, other than Ron Trout, because we didn't get any of him at all. The bit
No.
where Perry's like including him over Steve Lombard in the ship at first is like, why? We haven't seen any of him. Steve Lombard's at least a character we've seen some of, but he definitely has stuff that just got on the cutting room floor 100%.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just wanted more of them because the little bit we got was good. It's just we didn't get much at all. Not until the very end do we get anything more than Lois and Jimmy, and then the little bit we get is good. It's just anything. I would have liked having them do any. Which, if you would have incorporated more of Clark Kent, then you could have incorporated more of these characters. And again, to do that, I feel like you just say bye bye Justice Gang, and it would have been better.
Yeah, I'm with you. I liked everything that we got. I liked the portrayal of Kat. I thought she was an interesting character. I thought Lombard was hilarious. I'll go back to that line of like, why don't I have a seat? And
it was like, cats know the sound of your voice.
He's like arguing. He's arguing on the phone with his, the whole like. It was just all like Beck Bennett is always good. Like, it's like obviously he was Launchpad in the 2017 DuckTales. Obviously, I have a very particular voice in my head for Launchpad, which is, of course, the original actor, Terry McGovern. But when we went up to Disney TV Animation and the showrunner showed us the first couple episodes, and we got Beck's thing about where he's talking about like, I guess I'm a pilot and blah blah blah. Like I was like, oh okay, Beck's great. So I like him in pretty much anything he's in.
I would have loved to seen him and Ron Trout going at it, because that's some of the best parts of Jeff Johns' Superman is the fact that Trout is like the bleeding heart lib, and freaking Lombard's like your everyday dude. That's just like, why don't you write another gay article about how Superman is affecting global warming by fighting crimes? And Trout's just always there, and they're always going at it, and it's great. And I would have loved to see more of that. Instead, we got none of Ron at all. But that's something they could have done.
No, I didn't even realize that's who he was playing, because at the end when Perry picked him, I'm like, who's this dude? I was like, why is he getting to join the fun?
I think in My Adventures with Superman, they made him like a woman, didn't they? I think they might have made him like a Mexican woman or something. I think they
didn't they make everybody in in that show a minority woman?
Now, I will say, this is a perfect opportunity to have like an 8-episode max series just focusing on the Daily Planet if they wanted to. And it would be something they could do relatively cheap. You just have to find a through line to go through.
You have a couple of cameos by Clark, maybe a cameo by Superman, but mostly and
look, you could either take it a serious route, or you could take it like the Office type route, or like there's different or you could even change it up by episode, like depending on what you want to do. So there's plenty to do there. I do want to shift gears and talk about Ma and Pa Kent, and I'm gonna say, excuse the photo, it's the best I could find with both of them on there. But I feel like we're gonna have two varying opinions on this, because I will come out front and say I hated the Kents.
I liked the Kents.
I liked what they did in the movie. I didn't like the casting. This is what got me in trouble on Aficionados, because I said that like Pa Kent comes off as like Midwest slow, and then everybody started taking that as like I'm saying like people from the Midwest are dumb and like they're slow.
There are people that fall into. Well, I was gonna say there are people that fall into the Midwest dumb slow.
Plenty of people in California that are fast talkers that are slow, but I'm talking about just like the pace at which they conduct their lives and things like that. And I like the kind of the way that they were kind of like treated as like, they're very salt of the earth people. They're not particularly technically savvy. Like you see them like using the cell phone, and Ma's got it on the table and she's like yelling into it. I'm like, I get what you're doing, but I would have liked to have seen a more traditional Kents, and I would have liked to have seen them played by different actors. I don't think they factored into the film too much. The moment that they're in it has weight, but it would have had more weight if we would have had more interaction with them.
Yeah, that's what I wanted, more of them. And I see a lot of people complaining about them. And if you watch interviews with that actress, she sounds like that. She's not putting on some dumb hick accent. She sounds like that. That's how the lady talks.
Yeah.
And also, people were getting mad about like them being stupid. It's like that. If you've most people 60 plus, and you talk to them on a smartphone, it's like that. Like my dad's almost 70. If I talk to him, he doesn't understand. You don't have to shout when you're on speaker. He's doing that. He's not knowing how to operate the phone. It's like that's just how older people are. There wasn't any like making fun of them. Also, James Gunn is from Missouri, so I don't think he's trying to portray people from Missouri as being retarded or Kansas as being from retarded. So like I didn't get that aspect of it. I understand Aaron's criticism of how they look because they don't look like how they do in the comics. So that's something that, yeah, I would prefer people that looked more like a comic accurate Kents. But I liked them, and I just wanted more of them. I wish we'd have gotten more, but the bit we did get was good.
Yeah, I'm gonna be one of those that says they came across stupid to me, and I hated it. And I'm saying this as someone that lives in a farm town that only has a couple of thousand people. Every farmer that I know in this area does not sound or act like that. Every farmer that I know in this area knows how to use a cell phone, even on speakerphone, even if they're older. So for me, all of this just came across as Southern people stupid, and I hated it. Like I think there are a number of things you can do with the Kents. I did not think this was it. I like that there are plenty of people that I know that are like this. But I feel like I just don't feel like that's the Kents. And I'm not saying that if you are redneck stupid, as we kind of referred to it, there's nothing wrong with that. But
there's nothing wrong with being a stupid person from the Midwest, is what Josh is saying. You know,
Yeah,
it's
that's
fine.
right.
You can't help the fact that you were born in the Midwest and that you're stupid.
No, I'm just saying
That's what you're saying, right, Josh? I mean, I don't agree, and I know Dylan doesn't agree, but that's what you're saying, right? Just to
what I'm
encapsulate.
saying is there are plenty of people who are uneducated in this area, and it's very clear they're not uneducated, and that's how the Kents came across. And I understand that there are people that had to go through that for different reasons. Like I know people out here that are uneducated because they had to start working as early as like 6th or 8th grade out here. I get it. And most of those people are the nicest people you could ever meet. I just don't, they're usually not people that can run or manage their own farm. Like it's a lot of work, and it's a lot of, it's going to sound weird, but you have to be an intelligent person to run a farm.
I think those are two completely different skill sets, but like knowing how to use a smartphone and running a farm. Because again, I know plenty of people. I'm from the middle of nowhere redneck town in Florida, less than 2,000 people. All of my relatives are from Alabama. I know people like this, and it's different when it's like an older person trying to learn a smartphone. They're not going to care or spend all their time on a smartphone and learn how to use it compared to farming and something they've been doing their whole life. Like I think that's different, and so they didn't come off as stupid at all to me. I don't get the complaint that they're stupid.
Yeah,
guys, I gotta bail out, but I have taught an 89-year-old man to use a cell phone, so I know how that frustration can be. But Josh, good show. Thanks for having me. I'm sorry I can't stick around longer, but I do have to take off.
Yeah, no worries.
We'll see you guys later.
Awesome. We're gonna be wrapping up before too long. We just got a few more things.
Right on, man.
All right, thank you. Oh, he left. Let's go to kind of looking forward. So I will say that a lot of people have been nitpicking kind of tonally or what this movie does that's different. We've talked a lot about pulling stuff from the Silver Age, kind of doing things that are lighthearted. I do think James Gunn had a very hard approach of what he had to do with this film, because you've got so many different takes on Superman at this point. When you look at it, you've got the Christopher Reeve stuff. You've got people that grew up with Smallville, and that was their first encounter with Superman. You've got the people that were the Superman, the animated series, and Justice League. You've got Zack Snyder. You've got the more recent Lois and Superman, or Superman and Lois, that was on the CW. So there's so many different takes here that you kind of have this need to do something a little bit different. Do you think that kind of weighed into some of the decisions that Gunn made coming into this film?
I don't think he necessarily came out of I need to do something different. No, I don't think that affected, at least from my perspective, how he treated the character or this movie. I think he just did what he always does. I think he did his Gunn things, and I think he pulled from the comics. And I think that's the main thing that separates it from a lot of other interpretations of Superman. Is this one pulled a lot more from the comics for the most part, like especially Lex Luthor, which we had never really seen a comic accurate Lex Luthor, and now we finally got it. And I feel like that's what this movie did.
Yeah. Yeah, I do think there's probably a little bit of a like do something different. Even if it wasn't a do something different, I think from a fan perspective, you were going to have different sects or groups of fans that were going to just
I think
be
it was
anti.
definitely a don't do Snyder again. I think that
Oh,
was
for
definitely
sure.
there.
And I think you definitely had the Snyder Bros that were no matter what this movie was or would have been. I think the Snyder Bros were going to hate this no matter what because it
Definitely.
wasn't Snyder. But yeah. There were some right before the movie dropped. There was that one news article or interview or whatever it was that Gunn was like, "Oh, yeah, it's political," and then that created the firestorm of, "Oh my God, it's political and woke. It's political and woke." Did you feel like it was political or woke?
So I wanted to cover two aspects of this. One being the immigrant part, which is hilarious because the movie is like, yeah, kind of screw that shithole you come from and assimilate to where you go to the better place and become that. And it's like,
Yep.
wow, that is complete opposite of what you were hearing in those articles and everything. Because in the movie, he's like, yeah, man, where I come from kind of sucks. The new place is better, and I assimilated completely, and this new place is cool. It's like that's not the type of immigrant message that you really hear from a more leftist point of view. So that
No.
was funny. But then the other part is the Israel Palestine stuff, which the insane takes I'm seeing on Twitter of people being like, I love this movie purely because of this, because it represents my politics and the Israel Palestine conflict. Like, that's what you want from a movie? You're insane. That's the most insane take to be like, I went to see the Superman movie because it represented how I feel about Israel Palestine. That is nuts. That is crazy. But as far as it in the movie, I didn't feel like it was woke or like too political or anything like that. I felt like it was just
No.
a movie. I had a couple people in the comments of my review being like, is it woke? Is it blah? I was like, no, it's just a movie. I feel like the only real political part is the Israel Palestine stuff, but it's not even that in your face or that much. It's more in the background. So
Yeah,
yeah.
it's like having Lex take over a part of a country or try to take over a part of a country and using underhanded means of doing that is such a Lex thing to do.
Yeah.
And it wasn't played. It was played into it from that perspective. It wasn't even really played into it of like, oh, look at these two nations fighting. You had it from the perspective of Lex set it up to try to get people to turn against Superman because he interfered, and then
Yep.
he had his reasons for wanting to get that nation. Um, Outside of it, yeah, I was like, man, this doesn't. I feel like if you ever have a conflict of two nations in something like this, people are all automatically just going to try to layer, what
Yeah.
real world things we're seeing, and you might even get real world tinges in there, but it's going to be people trying to make it feel more authentic. But it didn't feel like it was preaching of like pro Palestine or pro Israel or anything like that. It just felt like, hey, this is happening, and it kind of caused a kerfuffle.
Yeah.
I didn't mind it. I didn't think it was woke. I didn't understand the uproar that happened before the movie came out, and I was like, all right, because I feel like this is one of the least quote unquote woke things we've seen
Agreed.
from a superhero film. We're gonna kind of start looking towards the future. So we've got the House of L. My bad. It's all about the harem. The House of Hell. It's kind of how I felt about these two. But yeah, are you gonna get a harem? Is that your life's mission now?
Yeah, I was inspired by this movie. Yeah, like we were talking about earlier, the elves are kind of more of the least important part of Superman, of as far as core Superman characters. I didn't like how they handled in this, but it didn't rub me the wrong way too much. I didn't care that much because the Kents are far more important than the elves, and it's something that you could easily fix in future movies.
Yeah.
But yeah, they just went with the whole, we sent you here to conquer and to have your harem. Also, that was a funny line from Guy where he's like, "Is he here to take over?" Like, that was one of the guys like, "I don't know if he's my friend, if I should help him. He might be here to take over." That was good.
I also love when he's like, "You have a harem." He's like, "No, I don't have a harem."
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
but he says it like you've been holding out, not like how dare you.
Yeah.
Again, Nathan Fillion stole pretty much every scene he was in.
He was great. Yeah.
I think my thing with this is if they do try to run with it as like this is really what the video was, for me, it just doesn't make sense because like we've established that Clark doesn't know this because he never got the second half of the video, but Kara is around and they at least have somewhat of a relationship because not only is he watching her dog, but she's got a Supergirl outfit when we see her. And she lived on Krypton. She knew his parents because she's technically older than him. So she would have been there to relay, like, this isn't what we wanted for you. So for me, it doesn't work. So I'm hoping they go back and find a way to retcon and be like, no, it really was Lex just being an idiot. Other than that, like the only thing it really does is like I think it works well when Clark has two sets of parents to look up to for different reasons. One for the nobility that, the elves tried to bring to Krypton and that he can have some faith in Krypton because of them. But then just the humanity he gets from Mom and Pa Kent.
It didn't make sense that the engineer was able to fix this, where
Yeah.
like Superman and his robots and no one could figure it out, but the engineer just instantly just fixes it. It's like that was really stupid.
Yep. Oh, there's more. I can fix it. Yeah. But anyways, wasn't my favorite scene. And since we mentioned her, we have to bring up Supergirl. Thanks for watching my dog, bitch. This makes me nervous for her movie.
I was never excited for her movie. For one, I don't like Supergirl as a character. I just don't care about her. And two, it's Tom King's Supergirl, so just makes it even worse. And I'm just I don't care about her movie at all. That's the biggest sin I think that James Gunn has committed yet, is the fact that he chose Tom King as his comic guy. Out of all the people he could choose, you choose Tom King?
Yeah.
Why?
The only thing I can think of is because Tom King had written scripts that were supposed to be for like the New Gods and stuff when Ava DuVernay, what's her name? Ava DuVernay? Whatever.
Yeah, something like that. The lady who did
chick.
one movie people liked, yeah.
Yeah. So the only thing I can think is if he has a good relationship with some of the film people at Warner Brothers that were like, hey, bring him, just get him back because we kind of, let him down last time.
Or if you're not really in tune with modern comics, you're just like, let's look at the Eisners. Oh, Tom King gets 87 nominations every single time, and he always wins. This guy must be great.
He's the bestest ever.
Yeah.
It's disappointing. And then the fact that James Gunn had that quote recently where he was like, oh, if you want to know if anything is like in the comics or comics accurate, we've got Tom King and he knows everything. And I'm like, oh no, please don't. Just stop.
Making him the Lanterns guy. It's like the little bit he's written of Green Lantern where Hal's like, I don't even know what willpower is. That's who you choose?
Yep.
Yep.
We have I've never seen you here, but we have Queen Glamazona. Welcome, but Supergirl was horrible in this movie. Yeah, I completely agree. Just the fact that they're pulling heavily. Well, that was my thing. Like, she looks good. But the fact that they're pulling from Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, written by Tom King, and then the fact that they have her come in and they're just immediately going into this. She likes to go to planets with the red sun so she can get drunk and be debaucherous. I'm like, oh, why? And I'm not saying I wanted like CW Supergirl, but just this definitely not what I wanted either.
You could have done the Jeff Loeb Supergirl. That's what you should have done.
Yeah. Something other than this. But so kind of speaking of setting the stage, I hinted towards this earlier. I'm really curious to see how they juggle all these different projects and their tones. Because you've got Lanterns, which is going to be the series on Max. And it's supposed to be 8 episodes and have like a super serious tone. And I mean, they're saying it's Detective. True Detective, but with Green Lanterns. And then I'm looking at Nathan Fillion's Guy Gardner, who I mentioned earlier, is supposed to be in all 8 episodes. And I'm like, how do you go from this to that? Because he's either going to seem completely out of place or ridiculous in Lanterns, or they're going to have to change the way he acts for Lanterns. But yeah, you got Clayface and Supergirl also coming. I think the only thing I'm excited about for Supergirl is maybe seeing Lobo. Like, that could be fun, but that will probably be the one like highlight of it. And then Clayface, depending on how they do it, could be the secret like winner for me in this. Because if they're going for body horror, then you could have a horror type film and make a banger, but we'll see. Anything you're looking forward to from the DC slate?
Oh man, what do we have anything aside from these three? Like, what do we have? I can't remember. If you can remember what else we have on these three. We got Peacemaker season 2, obviously.
Yep.
Is there anything else like that's
No, they
actually?
pretty much put
Yeah,
everything
'cause
else on hold
yeah. Okay, so
until
then I guess my answer is no, because of the Batman 2, but that's not part of the DCU.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, Supergirl. I never cared about Supergirl, and making it Tom King Supergirl makes me not excited. But Lobo is cool. I like Lobo, and Jason Momoa perfect as Lobo, and he likes the character, which is always a plus.
Yep.
So excited about that. That's the only thing. Clayface, optimistic because with the Penguin show, I'm like, why are we getting a Penguin? This is so. And then it's an amazing show. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
maybe they could just do some cool stuff, even though there's way too much Batman all over DC and they need to know they have other characters. You know, if they can just kill it every time, then I guess go nuts. Clayface could be interesting. It's just, would be cool to see other characters get opportunities outside of Batman characters. Lanterns, like, man, you are Detective Comics. You have detective characters. Make a question show. Why are we using the Lanterns? The Lanterns are not detectives for the most part. They're not really used like that. They're not supposed to be grounded and gritty. And on a TV show budget, that is really stupid. What are we doing? Especially after we saw what Guy could do in this movie. It's like, and are they going to be doing stuff like that in the show? I bet not. I bet they're not going to be even half as powerful as guys in the movie. So it makes no sense. And having a 60-year-old Parallax and a 60-year-old Hal Jordan doesn't excite me at all. They're gonna, or Sinestro, I think I said Parallax. It makes me not very excited, but they are going to parallax Hal Jordan instantly. That's what's going to happen.
Oh,
He's going to be like,
sure.
kick you out of the way, and we're getting Jon Stewart. Also, Jon Stewart, I know nothing about the actor. Distracting eyes. The guy's eyes just. That's all. Like he's got some pearls there, but
he's got some pearls there. JK mentioned Lanterns not in space. Doesn't make sense to me. So apparently they come to Earth or back to Earth because there's a murder that I guess is involving something with what they do. So that's the excuse to have them here. But yeah, Dylan's right. Like you're not going to have the budget to have them using their constructs like we've been seeing them. So, yeah, and then JK, I wanted Brave and Bold. Yeah. I mean, well, that was going to be the Batman one, right? With
yeah,
Robin.
that's going to be the Batman one. Yeah,
but I think that's
another complaint I have is we're getting a seasoned Batman in this. He's supposed to be like in his 40s and have Damien. It's like we already had that with Snyder. Let's not do that. Let's have Batman, Superman be around for around the same amount of time instead of like, oh, now we're having a seasoned Batman. It's like that changes the dynamic. They're supposed to be best friends. They're supposed to be similar ages. Instead, it's like, no, Batman's been operating for a while and he already has a son. He's, on his 4th Robin. It's just
I'm curious to see if that changes.
I hope so.
And then James Gunn did mention that there is something that they actually have started pre-production on, but it's a title that's never been announced in any of their slates. So I'm curious as to what that is.
They have that Themyscira show also that was like that. They were like, it's kind of on the back foot right now. We'll see what happens.
Oh yeah, I think that gets scrapped and they go
yeah.
straight on Wonder Woman. Like it doesn't make sense to wait. Like just get to Wonder Woman. And I get that they're probably trying to be like, oh, we've already had 2 Wonder Woman films. Let's kind of give it a breather. But I think they'll go. And then Queen Glamazana. Sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. But isn't Clayface a minor Batman villain? Why does he rate his own movie? I think it's more so that they saw the success they could have in changing the tone of the project, like with like they did with Penguin. That for them is like, okay, how can we do a horror film? Well, what about Clayface? And then you have Mike Flanagan that's directing, and he is a horror guy. And I feel like he may have come in and said, I have this idea for a Clayface film, and it may have just been such a good pitch that they're like, okay, we don't see a reason not to do this. Let's run with it. And if you are going to have an aged Batman, you could have a Batman cameo in the film. That way you're not doing what Sony did with their Spider-Man villain movies, which did not work. Yeah. And then Codeman said, as a Green Lantern fan, I'm looking forward to seeing Hal Jordan finally. Hopefully it's Cosmic too. I would say lower your expectations for Cosmic, but Kyle Chandler as Hal could be good. I like him as an actor, but I do agree I wish he were younger. So Let's go ahead and start wrapping things up. So, Dylan, any final thoughts on the film? Anything you want to add in that we maybe didn't cover or discuss?
I'll get into a nitpick I had, which was with the action, which was I hated they kept cutting back to Lex in like 90% of scenes. Like, just let the action play out. And they just kept being like, oh, Superman's about to throw a punch. All right, we're cutting to Lex and his goons at the tower. It's like just let the
Oh
action play
yeah,
out. That was a little nitpick I had because it happened to every single Superman action sequence. Like, come on, because that's something that I really liked with Man of Steel. I thought the action was really well done. And in this,
Mhm.
I thought the kaiju scene was really good. I liked that flight scene and Superman saving everyone. But aside
Yeah.
from that, there's not really an action sequence other than the Mr. Terrific one. But with Superman, there's no like action sequence that stands out aside from the kaiju one. And
Yeah.
so I would have liked some cooler action. So that's like a little nitpick I have because the action was fine, but I would have liked something like on the level of the Smallville fight for Man of Steel.
Yeah, narratively, like on the level, like the fight have an actual narrative there with stakes. Because I think the closest we got to it was the engineer fighting him when she started filling his lungs.
Yeah, but
So
that happens so fast. You
that's
get
what I was
like,
gonna say. You
yeah,
get like a brief moment of it, but yeah.
yeah.
And then I think they were maybe hoping that the Ultraman Superman fight at the end would deliver, but for me it didn't. I thought it was just kind of boring.
Agreed, but also there were too many pauses in it because they kept cutting back to Lex and they'd pause and like we did
Yep.
get some great stuff in there where I loved when Lex and Superman were talking to each other, but there were just like so many pauses and then we get out of the crevice and we go back to it and it's like just the way it flowed, it didn't flow well.
At all. No. Yeah, let it breathe. I think a lot of times with action, there's too many, whether it's cutting to a different scene or just cutting to have a different angle within the fight. I feel like a lot of times you do yourself a disservice when you have too many cuts.
Yes,
Um,
definitely.
but yeah, wrapping things up, I guess just overall thoughts again at the end now that we've discussed some spoilers. And if you were to rate this, what do you think you'd rate it out of a 10?
I'd probably give it like a 7.5. I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. It's just it was a little too overstuffed. We didn't get enough of the Superman characters. The Lex girlfriend thing was kind of stupid, but it nailed Superman Lex. They were amazing. I liked what we got of Lois Lane, but I wish we got more of her and more of her with Clark. And the movie looked good. I'd say that's something with a lot of the trailers. People are like, I don't like the color palette or the way it's filmed or anything. But watching it all as a whole, I thought it looked pretty good for the most part. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I think it's a good first step for the DC universe. It's just you can't like pull a Matt Reeves with the Batman, be like, we're gonna wait 8 years or
Oh
whatever
yeah, no.
for the next part. You gotta get into it and you gotta like get things going while we got
Yeah.
these actors.
I mean, he said we're gonna see Superman again real soon, so that makes me think, Supergirl is the obvious answer there.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see.
And
I
give him a new suit in the sequel, please.
Yeah, like I'm fine with the bright colors, but
Yeah.
this dude worked his ass off and
They give him
built
the
a lot of
thickest
muscle,
suit ever. You can't
and you
see
can't tell.
nothing. Yeah.
So I'm
'Cause
like,
I saw some people be like, "Oh, he's got bitch hips." Oh, blah, blah. It's like, no, you look at him outside the suit, he's built well. It's just they gave him the thickest suit ever and all the over designed lines. And I don't like the Kingdom Come symbol. Just take that
yeah,
stuff away and you can have a cool suit. The colors are great. I like the trunks, but just everything else. Give him a new suit. Get rid of the collar too.
yeah. There were a lot of times for whatever reason in this that the Kingdom Come symbol didn't even look like an S. It looked like you just had a stripe going across his chest.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this doesn't look good.
Yeah.
I'm not as favorable to the words this as you are. There were a lot of things. There were a lot of little things that I liked and a lot of little things that I didn't like. I loved a lot of the kind of Silver Age influences here. I thought that was a nice touch. And if you're a fan of those comics in that that era, like I think there's a lot for you to take away here. Structurally, I thought this movie was a mess, and I think you could have done some very minor changes to help fix that. But I would probably say I give this like a favorable 6 out of 10. I should probably see it again because I know part of my dislikes were just expectations of what we didn't get or hoping for something else. So I need to kind of watch it again just to see what happens there. But yeah, structurally, there's so much going on, and it tried to cover so much ground within a 2 hour period that either cutting or changing some things and then adding maybe 20 to 30 minutes overall to the film could have done a world of wonder for this movie, but better than what I expected it to be. And like I said, I didn't walk out absolutely hating things like I hated in Batman v Superman or Justice League. So I'll take that as a positive. But I do wish, and I know we don't need it. I do wish, since we are restarting things, we would have had just more of an earnest, let's focus on the characters. Even if you jump into it, let's just focus on the characters. Let's focus on Clark. Let's focus on Lois. Let's focus on Mom, Pa, Kent. I would have liked that. We've talked about how Superman for All Seasons is one of our favorite Superman books. And I would have loved to have seen more elements of that just kind of baked in throughout. But yeah. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up there. I want to say thank you to Dylan for coming on tonight. It's always fun to get you in here and talk movies. And go ahead and plug your stuff. I know you've got your channel, so let us know what you have coming up.
Yeah, the Real Comic Gamer on YouTube. I did my full review of this. You can check that out. And I'm probably going to be making a video on the Superman Treasury book that came out last week, because that is the best comic book of the year. I love that. If you haven't read it, you should be. And yeah, just always got stuff in the pipeline.
Nice. I do have Dylan's link listed below in the.
Also, side note, Josh, spell my fucking name right. You misspell it every time.
That's what I was about to do. So
every time.
One of my best friends is Dylan, and he spells it Dillon. And then when you popped on tonight, I was like, "Fuck, I spelled his name wrong again." I do it every time. But I was just about to say that his name is spelled wrong, but it is this Dylan. At some point, I'll remember. You know what? I always forget your handle too when I'm trying to find you on Twitter. So I'm trying to like type in.
So you don't get Dylan or my. So you're just like, does he exist? Did he delete his Twitter?
I'm like, what? Where is this motherfucker? I know he's on here. But yes, apologies on the misspelling of the name.
That's legit a meme in my community, is everyone spells my name differently. So I'm used to it.
I'm just going to come up with an even weirder spelling to do for next time.
I've got Dilan. It's all over the place. Dylan.
Dylan. I've never done that, thankfully. But no, thank you for coming. Please go check out Dylan's channel. He's also on with Wes on Saturdays most of the time, so you can find him over there on Thinking Critical for comics aficionados. And then whenever free, I'll definitely try to pull him back in for when we do Culture Pop. So thank you, everyone, for coming. Thank you for chiming in the chat. And we hope you enjoyed your time here. But we are going to call it a night. Make sure you go into the comments after the stream. Let us know what you thought of Superman if you've seen it. Let us know if we're right or wrong, what you agreed with, disagreed with. We're fine with the discourse or the affirmations. We'll take both. But until then, we will see you guys Thursday night for Floppy Drop here on I almost said Thinking Critical, but it's Pop by Culture. And Drew and I will be covering this week's books. We will not have Max's comic book conversations on Friday. He has a work event, so we'll have a Friday night off. But until Thursday night, you guys have a good night.